559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com. That's McCurryRentals.com.
The College Football Spotlight.
College football's best traditions.
Lance says this tradition is in play this weekend. In play. Ooh. This tradition. That's according to the Lance Taylor. West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain.
Hillbilly Magic.
Hillbilly Magic.
I didn't know this. They only sing after wins?
Well, they do sing that. I don't know if it's only after wins. That was not the tradition I was talking about. I was just setting the tone for West Virginia here.
Because I pictured them singing that a lot, like in Rocky Top this weekend.
Right. You'll hear that a lot.
I mean, you'll hear it all the time. I assume they do that at West Virginia games. I've never been to a game in Morgantown, but I assume you get that pregame. You're going to the fourth quarter.
I know you get it after wins. I definitely know they do it after wins. But what else do they do after wins, guys? This is very well known.
They like to burn a couch.
They like to burn a couch. Scott's got some photos. I gave Scott a tough assignment today, but he is up for it. He found some burning couches. I mean, if that doesn't look like a party, guys, I don't know what you want anymore in life.
Let's see. There's 5 of us. We've got a cold beer and a burning couch. What do we need? Women.
Women. Oh, crap. I forgot, Errol. West Virginia fans have a long history of setting things on fires. Couches and chairs are the most frequent things that they set on fire. And it's got a sketchy history of how this thing started, but most historians trace it back to the 1970s, and it actually goes back to basketball. Not even football. It was a big basketball win that they think actually started this. But the image of constantly burning couches over the years is probably not that accurate of an image. It really only picked up over the last 20 years or so, so much so that the city of Morgantown, Virginia has had to change. I think Scott's going AI on us. They'll burn it on the sidelines.
Yeah, that doesn't look real. Forster, that doesn't look real.
Scott, they don't burn it on the sidelines, do they? Okay, that's better. I like that one. Yeah, there we go.
By the way, the fumes that are coming off that pleather couch it cannot be healthy for you.
Yeah, you do not want to breathe around that. In 2005, fire officials ordered all upholstered furniture, debris, and flammable objects to be removed from city porches.
Brown, that does not look like that's not Photoshop. That is an actual. They've even got the rope line keeping people away from it.
I find that hard to believe.
There's a crowd in the background. They didn't bring it in the state of
You can't embrace this tradition.
I'm setting it. That does not look like it's AI, Forster.
These were created about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So you put the couch on here?
Yes.
The rope line does it for me. That's really good.
Wow. Well, it's AI is dangerous.
Hey, what would you pay at halftime to see one of their hillbillies on a motorcycle like an enduro?
Trying to jump burning couches?
Yeah, just flooring it, laying it down, and jumping burning couches.
This became, by the way, couch burning is now a felony in Morgantown, West Virginia.
I don't believe that either.
A felony. But that has not stopped students. They continue to set things ablaze. City manager Jeff McCorsky estimates 3,000 street fires have been started over the last decade. 3,000. First, they give them a written warning, but you can be fined up to $500 and charged with a felony. That's not stopping anybody, though. They're still burning those couches with no women around, just the guy standing there looking at a burning piece of furniture. Lance says that it is in place Saturday night in Morgantown. Burn them couches if they beat Kansas State.
Can't you see their TV ads in Morgantown? Listen, Coach Brown hadn't won as much as we wanted to the last few years. We got to get rid of these couches this weekend. It's a going out of business sale right here. 50% off right here until Neil Brown gets hot winning more football games.
Fire sale.
It is a fire sale, yes. That's our tradition presented by McCurry Van & Car Rentals. McCurryRentals.com. That is McCurryRentals.com.
He's catching some heat about, at least they're having fun. The West Virginia program is better than when it was. It's just his losses this year have been against rivals. Penn State, Pitt, those are two rivals, right?
Yeah.
They lost that game. What was their third loss?
Iowa State Saturday.
Saturday. Undefeated Iowa State.
So they're 3-3?
They're not losing to bad teams.
They've lost to teams that are combined 18-0.
That's right.
They're not losing to bad teams.
Number 3, Penn State. Number 9, Iowa State. And who was the other one? Pitt. Number 20, Pitt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 3 good teams. I mean, Pitt.
All 3 games were competitive, right?
Penn State kind of pulled away
State
from
fell
them.
apart in the second half.
After the rain delay. But
and the same with Iowa State.
Yeah, the Pitt game was fantastic. Yeah, that was.
Everybody plays Pitt. It's going to be a great game.
That's true. That was on the road, and that was the game where Holstein showed out. But that was a fantastic game.
Yeah, so it's a fun weekend, and that's our tradition there with the couch burning of West Virginia and some made-up AI stuff there that even fooled me on the second one. The first one didn't fool me. It wasn't sized up correctly.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com
and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Hang out with The Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out The Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there. Here at The Next Round, we love our guests, especially our 2024 football regulars. Auburn and Alabama fans, we've got your guys. On Mondays at 9:25, we'll be joined by Alabama offensive lineman Tyler Booker, and Tuesdays at 9:25, we chat with Auburn quarterback Peyton Thorne. Join us and rep your team.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, live show now as we get rolling on a Friday, a football Friday, already week 8. Little T and I were down in Auburn yesterday for the tip-off of at Toomer's, sort of a get-together for the fans. Tonight we're down at the Boutwell for Bama and Boutwell, big event that is now sold out. Looking forward to that, but some tickets maybe on the secondary market with our friends at ATIX. But looking forward to that exhibition game. Brown will be on the call tonight on the Hibbett's YouTube channel. Is that correct?
Hibbett's YouTube channel, our X channel. Maybe our YouTube channel. I mean, just, bounce around. We'll definitely have it on X.
That tells me we did get an answer to something that we asked about yesterday, too. Looking forward to that tonight in Boutwell.
Little T will keep you posted on social media. Yes. Here's what we always say, right?
Yes.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Set your alerts so you always know when we're live.
LTD&B with you in the studio. Behind the glass, Tyler is doing Forrester's job. Melton's helping us out today on the board, and that's because our man Scott Forester is off today, because his daughter, coming up at 11 a.m. Central Time, officially signing her college volleyball scholarship.
That's cool, man.
Signing day. So
what an
Forster,
accomplishment.
Off being super dad, he promises me that before the end of the show, he will text Tyler a photo of the family behind her signing on signing day.
Well, behind every great athlete is typically a great parent, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
somebody that is driving all over, filming.
Buddy, they do that.
Yeah, throwing BP, doing everything, and he is one of those super dads. So I know it's a extremely proud moment for the Foresters.
How often do you say, what you got going on this weekend, Scott? Well, we got a softball tournament all day in Albertville.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, we've got a cheer competition somewhere. I'm like, holy crap, man.
The other side of the world.
Yeah, I know.
Sydney, Australia.
Sydney, Australia. And then, I was like, what'd you think about Auburn? Well, I was watching it on my phone at a volleyball tournament. I mean, he is, that dude is always somewhere with those kids, man. He is a heck of a dad.
And he's always sending out videos while he's in the stands between games, helping us out on our social media platform. So we love him to death and wish the Foresters well today at 11 o'clock Central Time for that. Speaking of social media, Taylor has that for you today at Next Round Live, And EG off today as well. It's
wedding season.
She's fired up about a wedding this weekend that she is in. I can't tell you how many times she's like, God, it just seems like that Alabama-Tennessee game is going to be so fun. I said, yeah, but you're going to be.
You're at a wedding.
You're at a friend's wedding. Nothing's better than that. Yeah. Nothing's better than the 72 minutes of baseball last night. 72 minutes that got you into maybe one of the historic ALCS games of all time. 6:40. These are all Central Time. 6:49. Aaron Judge, home run, ties it. 3 minutes later, 6:52, Stanton puts the Yankees on top. 7:41, Noel, the guy they call Big Christmas, with 2 outs, ties it up. And then at 8:01, 20 minutes later, Fry does the walk-off. 72 minutes of about as good a baseball as there can be.
Yeah, one of the best postseason games probably of all time. And the majority of the game, we were at the Goose for Bud Light game night, me and Brown, and watching that game, it was 3-0, and then before you could blink, it's 3-3, and you're like, what the heck has happened? And Emmanuel Clase has been so good for the Guardians, and he had a letdown against Detroit, giving up a three-run bomb, but that one that Judge hit And the immortal words of Dunaway was a piss rocket.
It was a piss rocket.
And if somebody wouldn't have been looking at it, hit him in the chest, immediately go into cardiac.
Were you outside? The game was on. We were down at the Goose for Bud Light game night, and football was on inside, and baseball was on at the table where you and Leighton were sitting. And I had just walked back out, and I can't remember if it was the Judge or the Stanton that I saw. So I don't know where you were when you saw it, but it was that TV that was right behind you.
Yeah, I was inside.
Yeah, okay. So I walked outside. I couldn't find the TV was on inside. So I was outside. I was watching it, and I thought, well, that series is over.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, when those 2 home runs happened, I thought, well, this no series right here.
Especially the double play in the ninth.
Yeah.
You think, okay, now it's 2 outs in the ninth.
Yeah, and then, Luke Weaver, who took over as the closer for the Yankees a month and a half ago, was 8 for 8 on save opportunities, was perfect. Then you get a 2-run double. And then you get an unlikely bomb, and it was a no-doubter.
Yeah.
And then you go to the bottom of the 10th. You've got 2 out, man on third. All you need is a base hit, and Fry, another no-doubter.
Yeah, both of them slinging the bat down and watching them enjoying it. So Cleveland makes it they cut into the series lead 2-1 now. Yankees lead it. And you got to get back on the horse tonight if you're the Yankees because they can even the series up. 7 o'clock on TBS. By the way, Game 5, there'll be one. That'll be on Saturday during the college football Saturday.
That sucks.
May not be any weekend baseball in the National League.
We hope not.
As the Dodgers 10-2 over the Mets.
How do they lose this series?
Yeah.
There's no way.
It's going to be tough.
Shohei Ohtani with a leadoff home run. Mookie got hot. Ohtani got hot.
Yep.
The 2 guys you kept saying yesterday, they're not playing great right now. They're not hitting the ball great right now.
Well, you heard Buster say, I feel like Shohei is about to bust out. And although he only has 1 hit last night, he has 4 runs, gets on base 4 times, and then Mookie Betts was just the vintage Mookie Betts when the Dodgers won a championship in 2020. 4 of 6, 4 RBIs. I mean, when the Dodgers are hitting, there's really nothing you can do about this team. And now you got Jack Flaherty, who has been, just a steal in the offseason. You got him now going to Game 5, so the Dodgers are going to be favored again in that game.
It was such a crappy night of football because of the blowouts that I was actually more in tune to the Dodgers game, even though it also was a blowout, but it was the closest of the blowouts. I mean, the NFL game was almost unwatchable as bad as the Saints
BC and Virginia Tech got really interesting, and I had Virginia Tech -7, so I had a lot of interest in that.
And that long touchdown run made it 42-21.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a weird game. How you're up 28, you blow that lead, you're up 7, and then you still win the game going away.
Yeah.
Normally it doesn't happen like that.
My point was going to be I was paying more attention to your game than any of that, the Dodgers game, and they started talking, though, at the end about the bullpen starts, like which teams are going to have to do bullpen starts, right? And as I heard them talking about it, is that a concern for your Dodgers moving forward? Have they got a bullpen start coming up?
Well, they might in Game 6.
Yeah.
It would always be a concern, but you've had a great bullpen start.
That's right.
And you've had a bad bullpen start.
Yeah.
Just don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah. So that was when we say how do you lose this series, that was the concern I think Smoltz was talking about, was if it gets to that bullpen start, and I couldn't remember if it's Game 5 or Game 6, then what are you laughing at?
To make your Dodgers point, you gave us a little. We interrupt this baseball point here for last night's football action.
Well,
now back to the baseball point.
I had to explain why I was sitting around on a game that had long since been over.
Yeah,
there's nothing else to watch.
Baseball point we're making here. By the way, Saints was a blowout.
It was,
and then Virginia Tech got really good late.
Yes.
Back to my baseball point.
Yes, it was a blowout. Anyway, bullpen start, Game 6 maybe. Could be a concern, Lance. Could be a concern.
Show brought to you by our friends at Hydra Live. Hydra Live gets you going for the weekend. No bag for LT today. Usually on a Friday he's got one rolling.
I can't believe Friday pre-road trip to Knoxville. You don't have him up here.
I know. Dr. B gave me something, though. You
remember? I do remember.
I'll tell you more on that later. But Hydra Life Therapy, great place to get hydrated for the weekend. Whether you're heading to Columbia, you're heading to Knoxville, you're just sitting on the couch. IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, weight loss therapy, all under one roof. Make sure you mention the next round, 20% off all those great services. Hydra Life Therapy also wants to make sure you remember about the memberships. Members rewarded, basically recoup that fee in just one visit with the free IV every single month. Hydra Life Therapy open 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can book your appointment online at hydralifetherapy.com. Walk-ins welcome. Again, very important. Mention the next round. 20% off all those great services from our friends at Hydra Life Therapy.
And don't forget, you could see America this fall in an RV from Johnston RV Center. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman. 334 in Decatur is where you find Johnston RV. A couple things I want to tell you about. Number one, that military discount. They absolutely love the military. Can't say thank you enough, but a small way is a great discount for active duty and veterans. Travel trailers also as low as $145 a month. Fifth wheel starting with savings over $45,000. Also, RV warranty forever. Make sure you got a lifetime warranty on anything new and qualifying previously owned at Johnston RV Center. See more, johnstonrvcenter.com.
As Brown mentioned, Broncos beat the Saints last night. Bo Nix, 16 of 26 passing, 164, 10 rushes, 75 yards. Amazing stat. 8 Thursday night games in Alvin Kamara's career, 0 touchdowns. He is not a Thursday night.
That's
He
hard
does
to
not
believe.
like Thursdays.
I remember watching him on Christmas. I think it was against the Vikings. He had 6 touchdowns in that one game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard to do.
The 25th must have not have fallen on a Thursday.
I watching that game and what little I watched, because Jim, I don't know if you know, it was a blowout, hard to watch.
In the Dodgers game.
The Dodgers game was on. It was also on my TV.
Yeah.
It did occur to me. I don't know if you guys thought about this. Like Bo Nix's career as a quarterback, I think the last time he played in that state was really in jeopardy if you think about it. Like
He didn't even start.
He had been benched for TJ Finley. He had been benched, and Finley is ineffective, so they bring Nix in, and he has one of his greatest moments in an Auburn uniform. I mean, that game, that comeback, and Auburn fans got back on board with Bo Nix at that point. That was, I think, the last time he played a game in that state. To think that he went from that, being benched for TJ Finley of all quarterbacks, to being a starting NFL quarterback.
I never remember it that way. I think there had been, in my memory, it was discussion he was going to be benched. I thought he started that game.
He did not.
Maybe my memory's wrong.
He didn't start.
Yeah, TJ Finley, because I remember we had him on after he had been benched, and it was that super awkward interview.
Yeah, he got benched at the end of the comeback win by TJ Finley.
Yeah, and it
against,
was
small school.
And it was that super awkward interview, and then the next Monday we have him on, he's come back and he's led them to victory at LSU, and it was like this interview. Everybody was like, God, I love Bo Nix again, you know? Yeah. But what a heck of a turn, though, in his career.
Unbelievable. Andrew says in the mybookie.ag chat room is a Colorado flag on his avatar there. It's been a tough ride for Bronco fans. Unwatchable last night for most. Some encouragement for me, though, for him. G. Kerbo. Bo started that game, he says.
Well, it's a better story if he didn't. I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah. Jace loves the nickname Big Christmas for Noel, who hit the home run last night. And people listening all over the country, including, I forget who it was now, from Tomah, Wisconsin, who's tuned in today. So thanks for being with us. As we get to the games happening tonight, one other NFL point, because it's a college football Friday and we will go crazy college football. Unbelievable slate of games in the National Football League. They're always close. You don't always get the marquee matchups. Chiefs and 49ers, Lions and Vikings, Texans and Packers, and sneaky good important divisional game in my division, Seahawks and Falcons. So four games I've got circled for Sunday. I hope the 49ers, LT, can live up to that game with Kansas City. It does seem like Kansas City plays to whatever their competition is, and it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, here's the scary thing, though, for San Francisco. Andy Reid coming off a bye.
Yeah.
What's his record?
It's something ridiculous.
Yeah. It's probably
1,000 to 1.
Yeah, I mean, it really is.
I mean, he's been a head coach for what now, 20 years?
Yeah, it's crazy. I do kind of like San Francisco in this game. Much more important for the 49ers sitting at 3-3 than the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs. That's the only thing that causes me to pause a little bit on the game, as Andy Reid is so good coming out of byes.
Lions-Vikings, though.
Lions-Vikings could be fantastic. And you just wonder how Detroit's going to respond with Aiden Hutchinson now out for the year.
And Texans-Packers, when you talk about young quarterbacks' future, C.J. Stroud versus Jordan Love. Yeah. It's not going to have the Mahomes and Brady or Mahomes and whoever else you throw out there opposite of Mahomes, but Stroud and Love could be one of those for the ages.
I think that's going to be a great game. I also think Sunday night's fascinating. The simple fact that there's a good chance Russell Wilson gets the start for Pittsburgh against the Jets, and now Jets with Devontae Adams.
Combined age 110 quarterbacks in that game.
I've got the Andy Reid number. 25 times he's coached after a bye week now. This will be 26. What do you think his record is in those 25 games?
I think it's 19-6.
I thought it was something in one, but
it ain't 24-1. It is 21-4 though. It is not bad. How incredible is that?
Incredible.
It's regular season buys. That does not count in postseason. If you get a bye.
That shows you just how good of a coach he is. And you talk about teams that are prepared.
Yeah.
Before we talk about the Friday night college football slate, a little basketball news. But first, Tell us about our friends at Woodhouse, LT, Woodhouse Day Spa.
Yeah, hey, look, the weekend is here. You want to sit on the couch. You want to go to a sports bar all day and hang out with the friends, watching college football all day, the NFL on Sunday. Easy thing to do is order a gift card online right now from our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa. Your wife or girlfriend can choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail service. Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's best day spa since 2009. You can order that special person gift online right now, 24/7 at birmingham.woodhousespas.com, or just stop into the Summit Shopping Center, see Stuart and the fine folks there. Tell them the next round sent you.
And as the official show of Brian Vincent, I just saw it's his birthday today, so happy birthday to Louisiana Monroe head coach Brian Vincent.
We'll text him.
We need to fire him a text.
Yeah, we did see yesterday we were getting some analytics broke down. We are the most popular sports show in Monroe, Louisiana.
Yeah, hey, you can't win every city if you don't win Monroe.
That is so this last weekend was their first sellout, I think, since the 80s, something like that. But such a strange town, because we went through there after SEC Media Days, and remember every room in the town was sold out on a random Thursday night.
I do, yeah. Literally, the hotel was like, we've got one room left. Yeah. Or actually, they didn't have enough
they
rooms,
didn't have any. And they're like, in our sister hotel there, they don't have it. We called around, there was none, and then EG and Taylor were nice enough to give me their room.
I mean, we were in freaking Monroe, Louisiana. I'm like, did Caesar declare a census or something? I mean,
so strange.
Bethlehem had more hotel rooms than this.
That gets us to our new sponsor. It's Warbucks, the NIL collective of ULM. And I'm kidding, but eventually maybe so. We talk ULM all the time, but happy birthday, Brian Vincent. You're doing a heck of a job down there at Louisiana Monroe. Our buddy Greg from Pell City does bring you this show, though, and he appreciates good baseball. He was all in our text thread last night about just what an amazing baseball game it was last night. He'll do an amazing job on your roof as well. StormRestorationRoofing.com, the website, if you just want to go check them out. Free quote on any storm damage, roof replacement, or anything like that. Free evaluation on your roof. Maybe you don't know you need anything up on your roof, or maybe you don't need anything on your roof. You just need peace of mind. That's what Greg from Pell City and his wife Andrea will do for you. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Central Alabama's most trusted name. Family owned, family operated for over 20 years. 205-542-3531, or Greg from Pell City on Facebook. Really good with the insurance, roofing claims, and inspections. If you're selling your home or getting ready to sell your home, or if you're buying a home, he does the roof inspections and all that for you too. It's Greg from Pell City, Storm Restoration Roofing. Go and check them out. Tony Bennett announces his retirement abruptly yesterday, the head basketball coach at Virginia. He's going to have a news conference today, but according to everyone who is in the know in basketball, it is not health-related, they say, but I say that with a question mark at the end because it comes at a weird time, 30 days basically before the start of, not even that, 2 weeks before the start of the season.
Yeah.
So you expect them to go to hire from within. Sanchez and McKay, two longtime assistants, one of them or maybe both of them are expected to do this. Here's a stat that Karen sent us. It's the first time since the 81-82 season. That's a long time ago, 1981-82. In fact, I was in high school. That's how long ago it was.
Over 40 years ago.
Yeah, 1981-82 season. It's the first time since the 81-82 season that the ACC will play a basketball season without a national championship winning coach on one of their sidelines.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So they do not have a coach that has won a national championship now that Tony Bennett immediately steps down at Virginia.
I guess I would have said Tony Bennett, but I would have thought maybe there was somebody else in that league that had a national championship.
They're all gone.
I think it's fascinating because the speculation early on, and it's dangerous to speculate, but when you're 55 years old and most teams, you guys were there last night, are doing their midnight madness. I mean, we're in basketball season now, and for him to abruptly retire is very strange. If it's not health-related, whoa.
I got two theories.
I got one theory. Let's see if it matches. You want me to say see if it matches yours, or you say...
I mean, I've got a theory, but I'm not comfortable unleashing.
Oh, no. Mine is nothing salacious. Okay. Mine is just, you think reasonably about this if it is not health issues, because...
Everyone is saying it's not
This news broke right before Bud Light game night, and we even tiptoed on that. We're like, you don't want to speculate about anybody's health, but that is everybody's first assumption when you see this, right? Very quickly, Jeff Goodman and some of those other national basketball guys were out saying, I'm telling you from everything I can gather, this is not health-related. So I have two theories.
One of mine is the immediate 30-day window that allows the roster to leave.
That's part of mine.
Is in play.
Yep.
But you can still leave and be eligible for conference play when the spring semester starts. So anybody that wants to leave the Virginia roster right now, they can leave, but they're not eligible until the next semester.
Okay. So it makes no sense to leave.
But you say, okay, that's a solid for those players, but for the program, it's not.
No, I would say the opposite.
No, it's a solid for the program that he waited until now, but not for the players.
You're protecting the roster. In other words, those players can bolt just like they did when Saban retired.
Oh, no, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying he did it outside the window where they can bolt.
No. They can, but they can't play.
They can't play until January.
That's right.
Yeah,
so
but I mean, obviously he's still, or, I guess he's still an employee of the university, so you got to do what's right by those guys.
Yeah, so he may have decided in April or June that he didn't want to coach anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm going to hold it until right now
That
to
was
keep
one
our
of my
roster
theories.
together.
That was one of my theories.
And what's the other for you?
Is that he decided this in April or June. He went to the administration and said, I'm ready to step down. I want Lance to have the job. And the administration's like, we're not big fans of Lance being the head coach. And he's like, okay.
Yep. Then I'm not leaving.
Okay.
Hey, Dean Smith did this with Bill Guthridge back in the day.
Yeah, and now you force the school's hand. Lance has to be the head coach for at least 1 year.
Yeah, and then
right,
and if he has a good year with your roster,
I hope
he's going to be the popular choice.
Speculation is more in line.
Oh, I do too. I hope it's one of those two things versus health.
Because it sounds like, when you get these situations, it's either health or scandal.
Yeah, but I'll tell you the way it's being played. I saw Goodman do a video last night. He's like, I told y'all this new construct is going to drive big-name coaches out of this game. He goes, Jay Wright and Tony Bennett are two big-name coaches, and that's why they're leaving. Is they cannot – and you could probably say the same thing on the football side about Nick Saban.
Well, we talked about this last night at the Goose, and I brought up Kirby Smart. I think Kirby internally is battling this right now. I know we'll get to that game in a little bit, and I'll share my opinion on that. But, I think there is something to that.
Next segment with the Buffalo Wild Wings pick 3. By the way, Tony Bennett goes down as the guy who was the first to lose the 116 matchup.
That's right.
And then the very next year, he won the national championship, double dribble. But he won the national championship, beating Auburn in the semifinals, and went on to beat
Texas Tech.
Tech. I was going to say Texas A&M, but Texas Tech.
Vols fan 205 is not wrong in the mybookie.ag chat room. We'd kill a player for doing this two weeks before the season. For a coach to do it, and Tony Bennett will not get killed for this. And Tony Bennett has had a
depending on what
career.
comes up.
Well, yeah, if it's health related, then you forgive it. But if it was just a power play,
and his legacy would be really strange if he didn't win a national championship. Because, they've lost luster over the last couple of years. Still a great defensive team, very tough product to watch. But without that national championship, losing to a 16 as number 1 overall.
Well, Dunaway just did this. The national championship is often a footnote for Tony Bennett in the way it's presented. The footnote being he's the first one to ever lose to a 16, but they did come back the next year and win the national championship.
The very next year. Tyler and I pulled a clip from CBS Sports who's talking about who's going to possibly get this job after the first year, the interim setup. And there's a familiar name that's mentioned there. Bucky McMillan is mentioned there on the CBS story here that's about to pop up.
For interim at Virginia?
Could be the permanent head coach immediately, or in the mix if they go interim for 1 year and in the offseason to be hired at Virginia. This is from CBS Sports, Bucky McMillan. Oh, I've circled something in yellow, Tyler. Where does he coach? Stanford, Stamford.
The insult.
That's not like the Charlottesville Times.
Who did that?
That is CBS Sports. Stamford. By the way, they were in the freaking NCAA tournament last year.
You know who was it? Stanford.
Stamford. By the way, Dogs After Dark next Thursday night on campus. If you want to see Bucky's team, Dogs After Dark.
I think we all agree Bucky at 41 is going to get a bigger job sooner than later. I do not see this. They've got to go within. They have
I would
to.
think so, but let me ask you this.
For the immediate, 1 year.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, what do you know Virginia for? The Tony Bennett style is what?
Slow, methodical, great defense.
When Brown painted this wall, it's watching it dry.
Brown's wife painted the wall.
Yeah. What kind of speed does Bucky McMillan play?
The exact opposite. Yeah. It could not be more oddly fit.
Yeah, there is just no way you go from Sanford to Virginia, though.
Too big of a job?
Too big of a job. I'm not saying Bucky wouldn't do a great job. I'm not saying that at all. Yeah. There is no way Virginia would hire Bucky.
I wouldn't think
Sanford.
So.
He's obviously put Stanford
on the map. On the map.
You can find it somewhere in Connecticut, I believe, if I know my map correctly, not in Homewood, Alabama. Dogs After Dark next Thursday night. If you want to go down there, dunking contest. There'll be some celebrity judges and other people down there. So go watch that next Thursday on campus with Sanford. Brown's about to give you the MyBookie .ag lines for 3 really interesting football games tonight that we'll get to in just a second. Right after LT tells us about our friends at Odie's, where live music continues tonight.
Yeah, live music tonight, tomorrow night, both locations, the original and Crestline, the newest location in Edgewood. Get in there for lunch, enjoy this fall weather, sit on one of those great patios, enjoy the food from Rodney Davis. He's been serving it up for over 35 years. Wings, burgers, sandwiches, ice cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Great place to watch all of your Saturday action as well. Newest location in Edgewood, original location in Crestline. Get in and see Will Haver and that great staff.
3 games, Brownie. 3 of them tonight. What do we got?
If I took you back, I got 4 games tonight.
4 games.
3 good ones.
Okay. If I took you back, you're correct. One of them will be a blowout. If I took you back to pre-Jordan Travis injury, okay, can you go back in your mind to that Florida State college football playoff team, Jordan Travis tearing it up?
Yep.
And I said next year, around this time, Florida State will be at Duke and will be a 3-point dog. You would have said?
Impossible.
Hit your head, Brown.
Manny Diaz is the coach, and Malik Murphy's the quarterback, and they're getting points.
By the way, 22-0 all-time, Florida State against Duke.
Right.
They have never gone off as a betting underdog in those 22 meetings.
All you need to do is wait a few hours. That's about to happen. Florida State, a 3-point dog on the road at Duke tonight, 7 o'clock.
What would it take for that line to swing to a pick'em or a Florida State favorite?
Like the COVID flush through Durham or something.
Duke bus wreck?
Yeah, I mean, it would take something severe. It's not going to happen.
Not even a quarterback injury would swing.
And here's the great,
much.
not only is Duke favored for the first time in their 23 meetings, but the public is all over Duke minus the 3.
Oh, wow.
Jimmy, my bookie is not.
Are you Florida State?
Oh, yeah.
You chopping hard. You chopping hard over there?
I'm Florida State, Purdue, Oklahoma State tonight.
I have been specifically asked by members of Lance's like, please don't give out the Tennessee Titans nor Florida State.
Why? You suck on those?
Well, no, just because they're so bad. I think people hate betting on those teams.
Having to watch them.
Yeah. And I almost gave out Tennessee last week. I had to stay away, and they obviously lose as a favorite at home to Indianapolis. But, I mean, I don't know what you do with the Florida State number. This number's right. I mean, Duke is it's 3 points better than Florida State right now.
Do you guys ever believe there's a game that just one program can't get over the helmet or the jersey on the other sideline?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Georgia, Alabama.
Yeah, Kentucky, Florida for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vandy, Alabama for a while.
No, I mean, if
a lot of
Jahmyr
people.
Gibbs makes a catch in Knoxville in 2022, the narrative of this would be they've lost 17 straight.
Yeah. Saban never lost to them.
Yeah. Oregon, a 28.5-point favorite on the road at Purdue. Will you watch 1 second of that game?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
He'll have a play on it.
You got to play
Oh,
on it.
yeah. I got to play on it. I
Okay.
got to play on 3 games tonight. If the crazy scenario at the end last night of Broncos
and Saints. Yeah, bad game.
Yeah, where Rattler gets hit, ball pops up, they take it to the house, and then the very next drive with 3 minutes and change, the first touchdown of the night for the Saints puts the game over. Would have been 3-0, would have been 7-0 on the week, but we're 6-1 on the week. I told you guys we're going to bounce back this week, but we've got 3 more plays.
Bouncing, baby. That's bouncing right there, 6-1. Oklahoma State favor 9.5-point underdog, I should say, at BYU. Night game at BYU. That is a 9:15 kick. Am I right about that? Look at
the Cowboys too good not to keep it up.
Yeah, we have not erased Pistol Pete. Pistol Pete, right there. Play. You still like it, Lance? Plus the 9.5.
I do. Yeah, plus 9.5.
All right. And then Nevada is playing host to Fresno State, -3 Fresno State. You can play all those games, including Pistol Pete, plus those 10 points right there.
Yeah.
At mybookie.ag, code next round. Mybookie.ag, code next round. When you log on at mybookie.ag, you make your initial deposit to them. You use code next round, and they're going to double that initial deposit. Double it. All right. So that is free money you can play with right away. Win once with it, it is yours and yours forever. Not one of those things where you got to win 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times for that bonus to become yours. A lot of places do that. Not mybookie.ag. All those games, all the Saturday games, bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Mybookie.ag, code next round. Mybookie.ag, code next round.
So if you're looking for that great 3-team parlay that I always love to play, and Fuhrman always tells me, why do you play that? Just bet them all individually, so when you go 2-1, you don't lose. You've won 2 and lost 1. Florida State, Purdue, Oklahoma State.
That's your 3-team parlay tonight?
Jimmy Landmine. Oklahoma State coming off a 3-game losing streak.
Yeah.
Bye week.
Let me ask you this, Lance.
Rested team.
Yeah, I know you don't do a lot of parlays, Lance, but if you did a parlay like Dunaway likes to do, and you end up with like 3 underdogs, do you think, oh, crap, I've got 3 underdogs. I need to work a favorite in there. You don't really care? Okay.
Home dogs last weekend were really good, right?
Oh, I thought road favorites in the NFL were really good. I don't remember home dogs.
Home dogs in
college.
Home dogs in college being good?
Maybe.
Yeah, I thought home dogs in college were good last weekend.
I'd
Or
have to
maybe
go
they're
look.
always good.
They could be. I don't know.
I've hit my head somewhere. All right. When we come back, we'll do our Buffalo Wild Wings Pick 3. You heard Lance talk about the heater that he is on again this week. Lance'sLock.com, brought to you by our friends at Hemphill. Hemphill Services, the temperatures are changing, and the temperature's changing on the lock for this weekend. Red hot going into it.
Yeah, let's get it. Always brought to you by our friends at Hemphill Services. The name Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating issues. If you have any of those at all, call 205-229-2090. Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Hard to stop a train. Tell them the next round sent you.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Are you looking for a rewarding career? Adams Beverages is a leader in the beer industry and is hiring CDL drivers, warehouse staff, and sales reps. Whether you are a seasoned professional or exploring a new path, join Adams Beverages for an open house October 23rd from 10 to 4 at 141 Industrial Drive in Birmingham. With a commitment to quality and community, Adams Beverages offers a great place to grow your career. Learn everything about Adams Beverages and more on the October 23rd open house at adamsbeverages.net.
What's up, everybody? This is Mayor Woodfin, the mayor of the city of Birmingham. The McDonald's Magic City Classic, presented by Coca-Cola, returns to Legion Field October 26th. Watch the parade fill the streets of Birmingham. Turn up at the Coors Light tailgate party, enjoy the bands at halftime, and of course, bring that magic into the stadium. The best seats are selling fast. Tickets start at just $25. You don't want to miss it. Get your tickets now at magiccityclassic.com.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trustville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre or post game celebration, game day or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
Back with you on the next round. We just heard the walk. If you're listening to us and or watching us, you just heard the walk-ons commercials with our buddy Matt. Speaking of walk-ons, Drew Brees' jersey retired last night down at the Dome in New Orleans. Do you think he could have just, they got to the stadium and, hey, one-day contract, Drew, we'll still retire your number at halftime, but we suck at quarterback?
Yeah.
Could he have just walked off the street and played better quarterback?
I mean, Spencer Rattler was in a tough spot, though. Olave's out. Kamara's not playing well. The defense has become garbage. Dennis Allen, it's dead man walking.
I wonder how many balls you still throw as a retired quarterback. Do you still sling it around the yard?
Well, if I'm a former Saints quarterback, here's what I make sure of. We're playing Carolina twice a year. Whenever we play Carolina, which would have been to open the season, that's when we're going to retire my jersey.
Yeah, absolutely.
It will be a celebration for that game.
Yeah. Well, the Buccaneer games are always fun. That little rivalry has gotten pretty juicy. And the Falcons games are always fun.
It's crazy to think, though, Denver was the talk of the NFL. Now, to Lance's credit, he's like, this is a sham. They will never keep this up. But those first 2 weeks when they destroyed Carolina, because keep in mind, as bad as Dallas looks now, Dallas was pretty impressive week one. They went to Cleveland, looked really good, and everybody thought, look at Dallas.
Cleveland is garbage.
Cleveland is garbage. We didn't know that week one, though.
And then week two, they destroyed Dallas, but you look at all of Dallas's losses. I mean, outside of Baltimore, they have gotten walked off the field.
But I'm just saying, week two, there was reason to think this Saints team might be a little bit different, and then, boy, they have just been destroyed since then.
Carr could come back next week. Oh, by the way, could come back next week. Maybe too late for them in this season. Fun night last night. It timed out good. Peyton back in town, though. Sean Payton did the Super Bowl with Drew Brees, so that worked out good for the ceremony last night. Our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama, UCA, 35 urologists, 16 locations, treating all your urological needs from prostate health to kidney stones, vasectomies, and anything else you need right there. Visit urologycentersalabama.com. urologycentersalabama.com to schedule an appointment today. It's urologycentersalabama.com, UCA right there. Hey, Brett McMurphy, one of my favorite followers on Twitter, and I enjoy when we spend time with him at SEC Media Days, had a beer or two with him. Just an interesting guy who always has interesting stuff. In SEC conference games this season, the underdogs have won outright 9 of 24 games, and they're 18-6 against the spread. He goes on to say,
best of any conference.
Really?
Yep. 18-6 is strong.
Yeah, 18-6 against the spread. They've won 9 of those games outright. See Vandy, see Arkansas against Bama and Tennessee. He says perhaps a good omen Saturday for SEC underdogs: Arkansas, Georgia, Auburn, South Carolina, Tennessee home dog, Mississippi State, and Florida. That's Brett. We're going to talk about those games right now in our Buffalo Wild Wings Pick 3. Hit it, man.
Pick 3, it's time for the Pick 3. 3 for you and 3 for me, that equals a Pick 3. Say goodbye to your family, it's time for the Pick 3. Only time that I'm happy is when it's time for Pick 3.
Hey, and it's always brought to you by our friends at Buffalo Wild Wings, 11 Central Alabama locations, including that Buffalo Wild Wings Go location in Vestavia, #1 sports bar in Birmingham for over 20 years, wall-to-wall TVs, 26 sauces and seasonings, along with a full menu of great burgers, wraps, salads. They've got all the action on Saturday, all of the NFL Sunday tickets. Stop into one of those locations this weekend of Buffalo Wild Wings.
No, Hunter was interesting. Dawn Staley could get the Virginia job.
No.
It would be interesting to see if that's in the conversation. I actually think she said, Hunter, I think she said when she was on Game Day or an interview I saw, she has no interest in coaching the men. I think she, they said, well, could you do it? And she goes, it has never been something I've thought about. I think I remember her saying that. It does come up occasionally. Who was it? Was it Becky Hammond that was on the bench with the Spurs, and she coached the Summer League Spurs to a championship?
Yeah, but she was coaching an NBA franchise. Like the women's game and the men's game is played differently.
Yeah.
It's just a different game. And Becky Hammond came up through it. It's not that she's a female. It's just that she was coaching the men's game.
That's right. She was on Pop's staff.
On Pop's staff, right, before she took over the G League team.
Yeah. So,
and then now she has ended up being a WNBA coach, but she was coaching the men's game all along.
But we always say good coaches can, lead any business, right? We think Nick Saban could run car dealerships or make any company better by being a good leader. Staley could do the same thing. Doesn't mean she would want to coach a men's team or if that would work, just that she would be good in a leadership role. On the Buffalo Wild Wings Pick 3, you can play right now, nextroundlive.com, nextroundlive.com. Look for the big icon when you get there. It's the Week 8 games. You go 3-0, you get in a drawing in the bucket. More times you go 3-0, better chance you have for winning. Get one in, got a chance to win. Play every week, play just 1 week. As long as you get one ball in the bucket, you got the same chance to win. More balls, though, better chance, right? Two balls, better chance it gets drawn. 3 balls, 4 balls. That's how it works there. Nextroundlive.com, nextroundlive.com. Let's do these SEC games. Auburn and Missouri, right out of the gate early on. I was down in Auburn last night for basketball, but football people talking about, man, just want something good to happen for this football team. Can it happen tomorrow in Columbia, Missouri?
I will tell you, we talked about this last night. There needs to be a lot of improvement, especially on the offensive side of the ball, coming off a bye. But you look in their last 25 games, and I brought this up a couple of days ago, Auburn has been a dog 25 times since 2020, which is amazing in itself. But they've only won 3 of those matchups, 3-22 straight up as a dog over the last 25. And you look at Missouri, they've won 11 straight against unranked opponents. I don't think Missouri is nearly as good as some people believe they would be this year, but they're still at home. They're still more than a field goal favorite. I lean that Auburn gets under this number, but nothing's going to surprise me. If Missouri won the game by 21, if Auburn wins the game, none of that would surprise me.
I want to point out for emphasis, when you gave that stat a moment ago as Auburn is an underdog, you're not talking about their record against the spread. You're talking about their overall record as an underdog.
Yes. I am talking about they have been a underdog 25 times. They have won 3 of those in the last 3+ years.
3-22 now. As Lance said when he first pointed this stat out, the fact they've been an underdog 25 times in basically 3 years is astounding.
And what is considered a top 15, 18 program in college football all time.
That's astounding in and of itself. The record, Lance, is even more astounding to me, 3-22.
And again, going back to 2022, the second worst record in the SEC, only behind Vanderbilt, 1 game. Look, I think a lot of these problems are glaring right now for Auburn. They are dead last in the FBS and turnover margin. You can't win games if you're dead last in the FBS and turnover margin.
They have cleaned that up a little bit.
That's
what
they
have.
Seems to be trending down.
I mean, it was 5-5, and then it's like 1-1.
Yeah.
So it has cleaned up a little bit.
But that has not translated into wins. You've got to clean that up and somehow make it translate into wins, because the 1 turnover in the Oklahoma game cost them the game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's nice if you end a game with 1 turnover, but if it's 1 turnover that's a pick 6 late in the game, that's going to be a bad turnover, right? That's almost like turning it over 3 times.
Auburn flying to Columbia midday here today out of Auburn and over to Columbia, Missouri. South Carolina, Oklahoma, 11:45 on the SEC Network. Is it just because they played Alabama close last week, or just because Oklahoma's offense looks so bad that South Carolina feels like a potential good play
It's
here?
a 1.5-point game, Lance. I mean, South Carolina is only a 1.5-point dog on the road at Oklahoma. There is zero confidence in the odds makers in this Oklahoma offense, understandably.
Yeah, look, and I think Shane Beamer got kind of a win with his fans last week, just making that the game that it was.
I agree.
But on the other side, Brent Venables is not getting that. He's 20-12 at Oklahoma. He is 11-10 in conference play. That is unacceptable when you're Oklahoma's head coach. I will say, coming off a loss to Texas since 1999, only 9 of those, by the way, in the last 25 years, but they're 9-0 straight up. So they have played well after coming off that loss.
I look at this. I think points are going to be tough to come by for both teams. Obviously, the total in this game is only 41.5. That's a very small college total.
Hey, that Oklahoma offense is hard to watch right now. Didn't Jackson Arnold say something this week that he's committed to the program? And
I did not see it.
It was something positive from Jackson Arnold about him committed to the program, and he's doing his best, preparing like a starter.
If he really is the future, continue to play this guy. Like Nico's struggling right now. The only way he's going to get better if he plays this. It's not a Jackson Arnold problem.
Right.
It is a offensive problem. They have yet to go over 300 yards against Power 4 yet. 300 yards is not a lot of yards in today's college football. They haven't eclipsed that.
His helmet was on the entire Red River. He's still there. He says this week he's still committed. So if he's not lying and he's really, willing to go out there and burn a year and not take a red shirt, then I would have put him in last week. It could not be worse than it was last week.
I've got a feeling this is going to be a one and done. Venables will use him as the scapegoat.
Yep.
I mean, they're 130th nationally in third down conversions. Can't convert third downs, obviously. Can't keep the offense on the field. Got to just pause real quick. You know that random – y'all will see the name now. How random is that? He's on Good Morning Football.
Oh, Gary Dieter.
Yeah,
The former Alabama receiver.
Former Bowling Green to Alabama receiver. I don't know why he would be on Good Morning Football.
He's talking about the Yankees for some reason.
Yeah, and he won the Super Bowl with the Chiefs, right? He was on that.
I think he was on practice squad.
I think it was practice squad then, but I bet he got a ring.
Yeah,
out
got
of
a
that.
ring.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to make the point that is so random, Lance. If you had, I was going to say Jake Paul first. Is there a little Jake Paul?
That would have been
maybe
a
a
good
little
guess.
bit. I think it's a beer. Cooper Cup a little bit.
Maybe a little Cooper Cup. I would have taken a long time to get to former Alabama receiver Gary Dieter.
No, I would have never.
would have gotten there.
Yeah.
That is pretty random on Good Morning Football NFL Network. South Carolina, if you look at Oklahoma's offense, Alabama is significantly better in the line, right, than Oklahoma.
Yes.
Alabama is significantly better at receiver than Oklahoma.
Yes.
All Oklahoma's receivers are hurt. Alabama is more than significantly better at quarterback than Oklahoma.
Yep.
And those edges gave Alabama fits from South Carolina. What are they going to do to Oklahoma? And I think that's why you look at this game and you're like, South Carolina's got a good shot to win this thing.
Alabama, Tennessee, 2:30 ABC. We'll talk more about that one with Fuhrman and a lot more on ourselves a little bit later in the show. Texas A&M, Mississippi State, 3:15 SEC Network. Aggies, everyone talking about them in the playoffs. If and their young quarterback Van Buren is of the future. But Tyler, if you can give me the Mississippi State tweet from earlier about Texas A&M. One guy quarterbacked for Mississippi State 3 games against Texas A&M. His name was Nick Fitzgerald. 3 games against Mississippi State, 591 passing yards, 375 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns, 3-0. Nick Fitzgerald's not walking through the door, but that guy owned A&M.
Oh, very athletic quarterback. And here's what's crazy is how far Mississippi State has fallen. They are, if they lose this game, and I do think they lose this game, I think Texas A&M will continue to roll and continue to get better, and there's a reason they're a 2-touchdown favorite on the road. But this will drop them to 1-6 for the first time since 1988. Was that Rocky Felker?
I do believe it was, Lance. Rocky Felker, 1988.
I mean, I would have thought Mississippi State would have been 1-6 over the last almost 40 years.
Boy, I mean, Jeff Lebby, it has just been stuck in mud.
Well, and it's really the defense. It's not the offense. I think the offense is getting better with Van Buren. The defense, so 124th in total defense, 125th in pass efficiency defense. The defense has just been garbage, and that's why I think Connor Wegman will have a big game here.
A&M's an 18-point road favorite. That's a big favorite in Southeastern Conference football. I am interested in seeing Van Buren put up numbers against Georgia. A lot of them were empty calories. I get that, but still, 300 pass yards against the Georgia defense, regardless of what their game plan is a good day. I am interested to see what he can do against A&M.
LSU, Arkansas, 6 o'clock on ESPN as we continue our Buffalo Wild Wings Pick 3. You can play at nextroundlive.com, nextroundlive.com. LT, everyone's trying to sell me 2 things in this game. One, that LSU is fixed and they are trending towards a playoff run. And other people are trying to sell me that Arkansas beat Tennessee at home bye week. Now they're coming back, and they're going to keep that ball rolling. What do you believe?
Okay, so you look at LSU. We knew the offensive line was going to be really good, and I think that's why people were frustrated that they lost week 1 against USC. They thought that they would just line up and be able to dominate USC. The offensive line's only given up 2 sacks all year. That's pretty incredible when you think about it. So Nussmeier's had time. He's had a clean pocket. And he shows flashes of being a really good quarterback. Very inconsistent last week against Ole Miss until his final 2 passes. But he leads the SEC in touchdowns. He leads the SEC in completions. They're coming off their first win where they led at the final play of overtime since 2011, Alabama. So it was the exact scenario where they never led in that game until they ended up winning that game in Tuscaloosa. Yeah. In Arkansas, believe it or not, they're looking to win back-to-back games against top 10 teams for the first time in school history. How healthy is Taylor Green?
That's the question.
Yeah, that is the big question.
I'm told, I haven't seen I need to look at the availability report from last night, but talking to some people up at Arkansas, because I'm curious about this game. I'm not betting on it or anything. I just think it's going to be a good game if Taylor Green plays. Everybody I've talked to up there says, he's playing. Now, is he 100%? I do not know. But if Taylor Green's in this game, this is a tricky spot for LSU.
Yeah, Jaquinda Jackson still is, you could make an argument, the best running back in the SEC. He's got a touchdown in 6 straight games, and if Taylor Green is healthy, I think you get that balanced attack from Bobby Petrino. If Green is healthy, I expect Arkansas to win the game, but, only 3 for a reason.
Kentucky and Florida play each other 6:45 on the SEC Network. Anything quickly on that game that either one of you want to get out before we tell you about Academy Sports?
You talked about teams that owned other teams, and they had won 31 straight between 86 and 2017. Now Kentucky has won 3 straight against Florida.
Yeah. I don't want to read anything into this, but the SEC website used to have the football availability report, massive banner right at the top of their page, and they don't do it anymore. Like, I don't know, are they trying to downplay it now or what? But it used to, all I had to do was SEC Sports, boom, there's the availability report. Now you have to dig to find it. Just a curious thing to me.
Tell us about our friends at Academy Sports.
Clearly are not impressed by that, but
I never went to. I never experienced the big banner on SEC Sports.
It was just right there. It was very easy to find.
I just follow at Next Round Live, and Taylor sends them out.
Well, I need the Arkansas one. She sends out the Alabama and Auburn ones. Hey, your new Academy Sports and Outdoors store is now open in Birmingham. The best in sports equipment, outdoor gear, apparel, and footwear from the brands you love, all at low everyday prices. Wide selection of trusted brands: Nike, Stanley, Brooks, Carhartt, Blackstone, Yeti, Titleist, Shimano, and more. 4610 U.S. Highway 280 in Birmingham. The old Best Buy right there in the Target Shopping Center in Birmingham. Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Hey, if you're down at the coast this weekend, our colleague Taylor Korn was down there with her crew last weekend, and where did they go to watch all the games?
Floribama.
The Floribama Old River Grill, your waterfront sports bar with 30-plus TVs, draft beer, game day menu. Pull up your boat or drive in by car across from the world-famous Floribama Old River Grill, your one-stop shop for all things game day. For more information, FloribamaOldRiverGrill.com.
By the way, Taylor was there last weekend. Post Malone dropped in and played songs last night at the Floribama.
Oh, I thought you were saying when Taylor was there.
No, Post Malone last night.
Just randomly?
On the stage at the Floribama.
He was at Oak Mountain Wednesday night, I think.
Yeah, Tuesday night.
Down on the coast as he continues his country music theme. He wanted to play the great Floribama. So he was on stage for a couple of songs last night.
Real quick, back to LSU, Arkansas. Taylor Green not even listed on the availability report. Arkansas's got 3 people listed. All are out. So
that means he's playing.
I mean, unless Arkansas is willing to pay the fine, he's playing.
You don't put healthy on there.
No,
healthy
he's not even probable.
Yeah.
And C.J. Daniels, the wide receiver for LSU, is probable for this game. That's big for LSU. Kyron Lacey has been terrific for them, but just to get a little more depth at wide receiver.
Top of the hour, we get to Fuhrman, but the 2 big games in the country and in the SEC, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, Texas. Let's do Georgia, Texas first for 4 or 5 minutes. This game, everyone keeps saying Georgia is not clicking on all cylinders. They look different. Texas is the most complete team in college football. But as Reese Davis said on our show, poor old Georgia.
Poor old Georgia.
Well, Georgia's got a defensive problem. I don't think it's the offense. Since struggling in Lexington, the 1-point win, they have gone 31-plus in 3 straight games. In those 3 straight games, Carson Beck is right at 380 a game passing. Defensively, though, we're looking at things we have never seen under Kirby Smart. You go back to the Alabama game, 0 sacks. Mississippi State, 0 sacks. They have forced 5 turnovers through 6 games.
That's a bigger stat for me than the sacks because, Kirby used to always tell us, disrupt the quarterback, sacks isn't the number. Turnovers is the number.
5 turnovers in 6 games. Second worst right now in the SEC.
Wow.
Another disturbing stat.
Did you ever think a Kirby Smart defense would be second worst in the SEC in turnovers?
Okay, this is what you saw with the awful Alex Grinch USC defenses. Missed tackles. And it was over 10 a game, and it was really magnified, and everybody talked about it. Georgia right now, on average, is missing 9.6 tackles a game.
Poor old Georgia.
Can they get a first down?
I really don't know what's going on with the defense. I do think that everybody is poor-mouthing Georgia right now. I think this is a moment that Kirby – and really, I think it's the SEC against Texas. Talking to other fans out there, everybody's pulling for Georgia because nobody wants Texas to run away with this thing.
Pritch, give me Georgia Saturday. Go Dogs. I have a feeling there's a little SEC in that.
Well, I don't know if you realize this. 250 points scored in their first 6 games, allowed less than 40 points. This is the first team in SEC history to ever do that. Georgia's doing it in their first year, and they're the number 1 team in the nation.
Texas is, yes. Texas.
Yeah, Texas.
Yeah. It's up to 5. I mean, that is a big number for a Georgia game. I mean, you probably can't get Georgia as a 5-point dog. Lance said it. Maybe you got to go all the way back to 2016. We're talking 8-9 years ago to get them as this big of an underdog.
Yeah, and I just
little old Georgia.
Texas just hasn't been tested.
But
Texas has been good. You can call them the most complete team, and maybe after Saturday night, everybody's saying that, and they will be saying it if Texas wins this game. Talking to our friend Chip Brown yesterday, I was on his show, and he believes Texas is going to win this game by double digits.
That blows me away.
Zach, a little old Georgia might get beat by 30. Rusty, hoping Georgia humbles Texas.
Well,
I do not want them to come in and win it their first year.
I've heard a lot of SEC fans that are pulling for Georgia because they do not want Texas walking through this conference undefeated year one.
That's right.
I get it,
I mean,
man.
Texas is making a statement right now.
Yeah.
Let's all bark, man.
We'll see what happens Saturday. I actually like Georgia in this game. And you see their playoff, based on the playoff predictor, 69% currently to get into the playoff for Georgia, 92% with a win over Texas, 61% with a loss. I do think the winner of this game is locked into the playoff.
AK, this is the first time in a long time I'll be rooting for Georgia to absolutely dominate. Landmine believer, the SEC basically handed Texas a spot in the SEC title game with this schedule. Georgia needs to humble them.
And two other things. Did you guys realize, and I don't know how this is right, but I read it multiple times, this is the first road game in Georgia history versus a number one team.
In Georgia history.
Yeah, it seems like there would have been a game in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
Well, but think about that now. The only games you got between Georgia and Bama and Tuscaloosa were COVID year. How was Alabama not number one at the time? I'd have to go back and look. 2020.
Yeah, that's
Alabama had been dominant to that point.
I have read it multiple times.
Maybe Ohio State was number one.
This is fact. Kirby Smart coaching his 117th game. He's going for win number 100.
Yeah, big win for Kirby there. Other people are saying we're all dogs tomorrow. In fact, tonight I'm going to pee on a fire hydrant. We're all dogs this weekend.
Why don't you do like that one guy does and paint the dog on on the top of your head?
Seems like a lot of work, man.
It does seem like a lot of work.
I don't want to mess up my hair. Oh, wait.
Alabama was number 2 somehow in that game.
Ohio State won?
Well, I don't know. Ohio State, remember, they didn't even start their season until...
That's how you stay number 1 at Ohio State. You don't play.
Didn't know if they were going to play.
I checked it multiple times.
No, you're right about that. That's
Clemson
the one I
was number 1, says Landmine Believer.
Okay.
Coming off a trip to the national championship loss against LSU the year before.
Well,
and I've got a lot of these little notes. There's a lot of first in college football this weekend, which is really weird.
I like that.
It could be good. And then there's Alabama and Tennessee for a few moments before we bring Fuhrman into the conversation. Alabama-Tennessee in this contest. I will tell you this, the Vols offensive line, and I think you can put Alabama's offensive line a little bit here. Both of those units supposed to be dominant. Both of them have been a little lackluster the last couple of weeks.
I still trust this Alabama offense a lot more. Look, I love Josh Heupel as play caller. This offense right now with Tennessee is lost. I don't think you can say the same with Alabama. I think Alabama's defense has question marks. We don't know about Tennessee's defense. They've yet to give up 20, but they haven't played anybody. They haven't played a top 50 offense. And you look at this offense for Tennessee, back-to-back weeks, they've been shut out in the first half against Arkansas and against Florida. Nico has yet to go over 200-plus passing yards. And the two biggest numbers for me in this game, Kalen DeBoer, 13-1 against ranked teams.
Okay.
13-1. That is insane.
Yep.
And Tennessee.
Not just ranked teams.
A lot of those are highly ranked.
Sark, Dan Lanning, Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, I mean, big time wins. And you look at Tennessee since 2020, 8 games as a home dog, 1-7 straight up. One of those wins is a home dog straight up. That's it. So I'm taking DeBoer over Heupel. I'm taking Milroe over Nico. We'll see what happens. I know most people disagree. A lot of people like Tennessee in this game. I like Alabama.
Does that go far enough back that the one win was Alabama back in 20?
Yeah, that was it.
That was it? Okay.
Yeah.
When Jim couldn't get them off the field safely back in 2022?
Just 313 yards last week for Alabama against South Carolina. A good preparation game for Alabama's offense because you'll get the same type of edge pass rush from Tennessee coming up on Saturday up in Knoxville. What does Fuhrman think about the game? He'll let us know when he comes back on the other side as the show is being brought to you by our friends at New Life, newlifeart.com. Daniel A. Moore, he's got a new painting out right now. It's called Deuces Wild. This is the legend you're looking at right here. The legend is celebrating 6 national championship seasons by Coach Nick Saban. You can pre-order that right now at danielmooreart.com, danielmooreart.com. The Deuces Wild is out there as well, celebrating the win over Georgia. There is a pencil drawing of that. He'll get to painting that here. Get to painting, Daniel. He'll get to painting that soon. But the pencil sketch of Ryan Williams' big catch and then Zabian Brown's interception is part of Deuces Wild. You can pre-order that right now as well, too. DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at scottforestertv.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make, so it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Lisa Zeig, Vice President Mortgage Loan Officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner, making it easy to buy with confidence. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
Hey, you. Feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair. To kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Join the Adams Beverages team. They are hiring all positions, whether you have experience in the beer industry or not. Come to their open house October 23rd from 10 to 4, 141 Industrial Drive, Birmingham. A leader in the beer industry since 1937. AdamsBeverages.net.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, e.g., that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
We talk about all the biggest games every Monday at 10:30 with Fox Sports analyst Joel Klatt. Presented by MyBookie.ag, promo code NEXTROUND. If it is meaningful at all in college football, we cover it Mondays with Joel Klatt. Presented by MyBookie.ag on the Next Round.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, hour number 2 as we get going. Todd Fuhrman is about to join us right after Brownie tells us about the Magic City Classic, which is rolling into town, not this weekend, but next weekend, a tradition at Legion Field.
It is the 83rd edition there, Jimmy D, the number 1 HBCU Classic in the entire country. The Alabama A&M, Alabama State game also at halftime. The Marching Maroons and the mighty Marching Hornets put on an incredible show. You can see the game in person Saturday, October 26, 2:30 at historic Legion Field. Tickets still priced at just $25 for general admission, $35 for reserved seating. MagicCityClassic.com is where you go to buy. MagicCityClassic.com. Todd Fuhrman with BetTheBoardPodcast.com joins us this time each Friday to talk about the upcoming games. What is up, Fuhrman? How are you, my friend?
I am doing well, gentlemen. Hopefully you guys are as well this fine Friday.
We are doing quite well. We were just discussing before we went to the top of the hour break this Georgia-Texas game. And Texas is a 5-point favorite, Fuhrman. 5-point favorite. And we were speculating last time you could find Georgia's 5-point dog probably goes as far back as 2016. It's pretty incredible to see them in this spot.
Definitely unusual. We'll see history made on Saturday down there in the 40 acres. This will end a streak of 49 straight games where Georgia enters as a favorite. So the Bulldogs will not threaten Alabama's longest streak of being a favorite in a game that we've seen Alabama put together 2 50-game streaks over the last 15 years separately. Texas would then assume that throne as it'll be the 19th time in a row that they would be listed as a favorite. What's interesting about this game, when you look at where the number opened in that 3.5 range, you've kind of seen one-way traffic on the Longhorns here. But as you go through Texas's resume to date, I think there's still some questions that have to be answered Saturday night, most specifically as it relates to this team's defensive capabilities. They haven't played a team that ranks inside my top 70 in terms of overall passing offenses, and that's without adjusting for schedule. If you go one step further and adjust for strength of schedule, they haven't played a team that can throw the forward pass at a rate better than 90th. So this will be a little bit of a jolt to the system for them with Carson Beck coming off that big game against Mississippi State. Now on the other side, can Georgia's defense hold up against this Texas offensive attack? I think the Bulldogs have trended down in that direction in multiple games this season, and that's part of the reason that if I was going to tangle in this game, and I haven't gotten there yet, would look to go over the total, as I think both of these offenses can have success relative to number, and it may take north of 30 points for one of these teams to come out victorious on Saturday.
2 years ago in Knoxville, it flew over the total. It was a classic game where Tennessee snapped that 15-game winning streak from Alabama. I think Alabama fans were surprised that Alabama's favored. It is sitting right around 3. Which way do you like Alabama-Tennessee Saturday in Knoxville?
52-49, as you mentioned, LT, and I joke with some prominent Tennessee fans. I go, you guys have lost 16 out of 17 to Alabama. The only game you won, I was in the building, and yet nobody called, nobody sent me the private jet to try and bring me back to Neyland to recreate some of that magic for Saturday night in the orange out. When we look at these two teams, the betting market has really struggled with both of them in recent weeks. I mean, Alabama favored by 20-plus points in each of the last 2 games, lose one outright to Vanderbilt, and then struggle to get through South Carolina last week. But Tennessee is underwhelmed at the betting window as well. They lost outright as a 14-point favorite on the road at Fayetteville, and then last week, of course, needed overtime to get through Florida as north of a 2-touchdown favorite. What's interesting about Alabama, especially head coach Kalen DeBoer, when you look at games where they have to step up and they play marquee opponents, DeBoer has lined people's wallets ever since he has been at Fresno State. 13-2 straight up, 11-3-1 against the number when a DeBoer coach team goes up against an AP-ranked opponent as head coach. 3-0 against the number with Fresno State, 7-3-1 against the number with Washington, and the one win, of course, coming earlier this year against Georgia since he took over to Alabama. This Tennessee offense, for me, guys, hasn't looked right. And while I know Alabama has been vulnerable to the big play, especially in the secondary, I'm not sure Nico and company can attack in space that same way. The loss of Keenan Peely defensively for Tennessee leaves a big void in the middle of the field. But I just can't get to the number here with Alabama, a 3-point favorite. So for me, this is one, unfortunately, that'll be on the sidelines, but I am fascinated to watch. Let's see if Alabama can put it all together and get a big road victory against a Vols team trying to struggle for offensive identity.
More on Saturday in a second, but I know how much you love Jim's Gems, G-E-M-S.
J-I-M-S-G-E-M-S.
Jim's Gems.
Apostrophe in there somewhere.
3-team parlay tonight. I love Florida State, Purdue, and Oklahoma State with the points. What do you think?
I think that Oklahoma State is an interesting team to watch, not only tonight but going forward. It appears that there's going to be a little bit of a youth movement in Stillwater, that they'll go to Garrett Rangel tonight under center, as I think Alan Bowman has started his last game.
I didn't know that.
That should tell you all you need to know about Jim. Yes.
There's also growing buzz that Coach Gundy wants to get some more true freshmen out there, and that we may see Zach Flores.
Also didn't know that. Didn't know that either.
That they're very high on going forward. Yeah. Part of the reason that you've seen some under money in this game with a total of 55, now down to 52.5. And when we look at the Duke-Florida State game, Duke trying to accomplish a bit of history. They have never beaten Florida State in the prior 22 meetings. That hasn't been lost on the players. But Florida State also trying to get a few more young players involved. I think Brock Glenn gives them more mobility. And I actually agree with you here. I would lean Florida State plus the points. The big move on this game came in with Florida State catching 3.5, especially with such a low total that'll have more of an NFL feel to it than a traditional college game.
All of us professionals know when that 3 goes to 3.5, that's when you jump, right?
That's right. Key number.
You have to be price sensitive, Dunaway. I mean, that's the bottom line. What does kill me, though, guys, is that I can't offer a strong opinion on the Nevada game. I mean, the Wolfpack have been great to us in our under the radar segment, but I don't really like them as much tonight against Fresno State with that number hovering between 2.5 3.
We'll do our Fuhrman 316 pick coming up later. And that's the bottom line.
The under the radar is 4-0 on the season, by the way. Outright winner with Nevada last week. We'll get to that at the end of the interview. Fuhrman is with us, Todd Fuhrman, on the JohnsTNR hotline, bettheboardpodcast.com for all the games, bettheboardpodcast.com. Auburn is on the road at Missouri. They are a 4-point underdog. I mean, before Missouri's trip to Texas A&M, the way Auburn was playing, the way Missouri was playing, I never would have guessed this would have been that close of a number, but boy, these teams are a lot closer than one might think.
This was a game that I admittedly slept on. I had the spot circled for Auburn, wanted to try and back them here, but didn't want to take a number this short. And they got hit pretty early on this week where we saw Auburn take money at +6 or better. You're also seeing the under get touched up a little bit as well. 52.5 is kind of where that price tag opened, and it's come down. There's no doubt that Auburn has a lot of questions they have to answer, not just this week, but down the stretch to try and get to that 6-win threshold and potentially get bowl eligible. Meanwhile, for Missouri, you dive into their strength of schedule, and that Texas A&M data point still looms large. I don't put a whole lot of stock in going on the road to Amherst and taking care of business against UMass last week, even if they did cover comfortably as a 4-touchdown favorite. So instead of getting involved late and taking the worst of the number, whether it's going under or backing the underdog, I think this game will tell us quite a bit about who these two teams are going to be for the second half of their schedule. Still lean Auburn if I had to get involved, but just can't get there unless the number gets back to 6.
Indiana, second nationally, over 47 points per game. They've scored 40-plus in 5 consecutive games. They're coming off a bye. People still aren't buying this team. I'm going to stay away from it. I made the mistake of sneaking back into the 11 o'clock window last week. I got popped. This is kind of a difficult game. Whoever wins this game is in a great spot, though. Nebraska, I mean, both are coming out with one loss, even if Indiana was to lose it. 6.5, I guess that number's about where it should be.
I don't know anybody who circled this game before the season started when where all eyes are going to be on the Big Ten in the middle of October in Bloomington, Indiana, for a sellout crowd with a Hoosiers team that has exceeded odds makers' expectations so far. I mean, you look at what Indiana has done. Not only have they won and covered in almost all of their games, FIU being the outlier in their season opener, they have yet to trail in a football game all season. It's just them and Army that have that distinction amongst 134 FBS programs. When you go into Indiana and you dig into some of these numbers, winning all 6 games by 14-plus points on the schedule doesn't sound like a lot, but it's the longest streak of doing so in program history. And keep in mind that Indiana had exactly 0 wins over FBS programs over the last 3 seasons by 2+ touchdowns. So Indiana doing things and taking the conference by storm, but then you look at the strength of schedule that they faced, and you can't find an upper echelon defense on that resume at all in FIU, Western Illinois, Charlotte, UCLA, Maryland, or Northwestern. But Indiana can score, and I think that's the big question that Nebraska is going to have to answer here. We've seen Nebraska struggle a little bit defensively against Illinois on that Friday night a few weeks ago. The last 2 games for the Cornhuskers, in my opinion, aren't good data points, given that they played in inclement weather, both in the trip to West Lafayette and in 35-mile-an-hour wind gusts in a 14-7 game against Rutgers. I don't quite get to 6.5 on this game. I'm more in the 4.5-5 range. So if it got to 7, I could see Nebraska as a value proposition. But at the same time, wouldn't be shocked at all if Indiana went out there and just had too much firepower. Should be a hell of a game, but strong lean towards Nebraska for me. And wouldn't hesitate if you have questions about Indiana's resume, if you wanted to get involved small betting Nebraska on the money line, because there is a wide range of outcomes.
Boy, there seems to be a lot of urgency for some SEC fan bases who may be on the bubble on Selection Sunday that are cheering for Georgia Tech to wreck Notre Dame tomorrow. What's the chance of that happening?
I think it all hinges on the status of Haynes King. We got a upgrade in his overall status yesterday. You saw the market start to reflect that with a little bit of money coming in on Georgia Tech, along with the overtaking money. But you're not going to know until Haynes King goes out there tomorrow and takes a hit with that shoulder. He wasn't out there for the final drive against North Carolina, but apparently Mac Brown decided that it was okay to play soft defense and give up a 75-yard run to Georgia Tech when they were just looking to run the clock out. If this game had a healthy Haynes King, I could make a slight case for Georgia Tech being a live underdog. My big concern is that this Notre Dame team, to your point, Dunaway, is rounding into form. They're looking much better offensively than they were early in the year, and we knew the defense was going to be a strength. So haven't gotten involved in this contest yet, and we know fans across the country, if they don't root for the Service Academy anyways, are going to be much more patriotic knowing that those could be two of Notre Dame's bigger landmines before they get to that regular season finale against USC, given how well Army and Navy are playing as well.
All right, here we go. We're going to get to your off-the-radar pick, but I got two quick ones for you. Taylor Green, what's your feel on his, not his availability, not only availability report at all, but how healthy is he for Arkansas?
You know, talked to some folks close to that program. They were interested to see if he was going to be a full go earlier in this week. He was. I know Sam Pittman has been pretty coy in his words describing injuries, and there was some speculation about what Green was going to be able to do. But all systems go. From what I've been told, we'll see how he holds up over the course of 4 quarters against an LSU defense that I think put forth what I would define as a misleading performance last week. They weren't as good as the number that appeared on the scoreboard for Ole Miss. I think that had a lot more to do with Jackson Dart and Lane Kiffin's play callings that were struggles. We saw Taylor Green put his best game on the books against Tennessee, protected the football, used his mobility, and should have success here. I think the big question for Arkansas, if that defensive line can't get home, and no reason to believe they can, given how well that LSU offensive line has protected Garrett Nussmeier, can that secondary do enough? And this has been one of the bigger battles in the market. We saw money come in on Arkansas from 3.5 as low as 1.5. And then last night we had a pretty prominent betting group out here in the desert actually lay that short price with LSU. So won't be involved in this game, but would lean Arkansas at 3.5 if I had to.
Biggest Vanderbilt line of our lifetime? Is this the most they've ever been favored in our lifetime, do you think?
Not in our lifetime, but one of the bigger numbers we'll see against an FBS opponent, if we even want to call Ball State that, given what we've seen from the Cardinals and some of their defensive shortcomings. For those folks who didn't see last week, and no reason to believe that a lot of your listeners follow MAC football, one of the more bizarre final 5 minutes of a football game with point spread implications between Ball State and Kent State, tackling optional, big plays plentiful, and was an interesting result, to say the least. Ball State, the only way to look in this game, and it's mainly to do with the situational spot working against Vandy. 3 straight games against SEC opponents, the overtime loss against Missouri, the outright upset wins against Alabama and Kentucky in back-to-back weeks. And don't look now, but Vandy has yet another marquee matchup at home next week against Texas. This feels like a game where Clark Lee just tries to get his players through healthy, and if he sees Diego Pavia scrambling more than he needs to, that should give every Vanderbilt fan pause. Don't have Pavia go out there and get dinged up. Just try and get out unscathed. Ball State probably a live underdog plus the points. I'm not going to call for an outright upset there in Nashville.
All right. As Keith has pointed out, Under the Radar 4-0. He hits us every Friday. Make sure to ask Fuhrman about that Under the Radar. You had an outright win over Nevada last week. Where are we going this week?
You know, there were a couple of games that I looked at this week. So the near misses for me in that regard, ECU, a big number against Army plus the 16.5. I don't get anywhere close to this price. I'm more in the Army 11.5 to 12 range. But I don't love what I saw from ECU 2 weeks before. So that game was close and probably would have been a pick at 17. You know, looked at Houston catching 5.5 against Kansas as well. I think there are 2 teams passing in the night as KU is limping to the finish and just banged up. But we're going to go real dumpster diving. And I know that's where we've done some of our best work. It's always scary to lay points with bad teams. But I'm going to take Temple and lay the 3 against Tulsa. This is a Golden Hurricane team that is downright awful right now. They don't really have a redeeming quality on either the offensive or defensive side. And when I look at this Temple team, while the results aren't there in the win-loss column, they've gone out there and shown fight. They knocked off Utah State, pulling off an upset there, kept them in check. They fought tooth and nail against an underrated UConn team last week, or 2 weeks ago, and very well could have won it outright. And I do think we're going to see the Temple quarterback situation where they've dealt with a rash of injuries have a slight upgrade. So we'll lay the 3 with the Owls. Not going to be the most fun or enjoyable game for anybody to watch. Probably one you put the bet in and you check the score 3 hours later and you hope for the best.
Hope for the best. Fuhrman, enjoy the games. Have a great weekend.
Hey, always a pleasure. You guys do the same.
All right, buddy. Take care. Todd Fuhrman with us. BetTheBoardPodcast.com. On the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Also follow him on social media at Todd Fuhrman.
Michelson Laser Vision bringing you this part of the show right now. Tell us about the great folks at Michelson.
Yeah, make the phone call that I made more than 2 decades ago. 205-969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. I've got 20/15 vision after the procedure, which only took 12 minutes for both eyes. Make the phone call that I made. Ask for Amy. 205-969-8100. Tell her the next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have zero to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
You know, we talk to you often about our friends at Inverness Country Club. They are part of the Heritage Golf family, and they're having a great golf tournament out there. The Heritage Cares Foundation. October 27th, it's 12:30 p.m. Shotgun. It's open to members and non-members. So if you've ever wanted to go play Inverness to see if you would like it, this is a great chance to do that and participate in a great charity event as well. Just $100 for your entry price. They're also having a tennis tournament the day before. The Heritage Cares Mixed Double round robin tournament, Saturday, October 26th, 10 to 3. It's limited to the first 32 teams. If you have any interest in that, Jay Freeman at heritagegolfgroup.com. That's Jay Freeman at heritagegolfgroup.com. And they're having a relay event October 26th as well, 6:30 to 8:30, group exercise, teams of 2 or 3. They're going to have a 5-mile golf course run, a fun time there, just $75 for teams. Lance, you can find all of that at Inverness Country Club's website.
Yeah, to take a tour of the great country club that we were at on Tuesday night. They've got memberships that fit everyone, maybe relocated to retired. Inverness is the place to network. ICCalabama.com. Make sure you tell Aaron the next round sent you.
A couple of developing news things. One of them, Tony Bennett says it wasn't until the fall break, which was a couple of weeks ago, where Laurel and I went away and just kind of processed what the future would be. And that's where I came to the realization that I can't do this anymore, as Tony Bennett walking away from the Missouri job today. And what was the other one?
Virginia.
It was
the Virginia
job. And there was one other story that I found interesting, but I'll come back to it when I remember it or when somebody reminds me what I was thinking about that. But there's Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett's comment, no, not health related. It is just decided he can't do it anymore, the basketball coach there. LT's got 4 downs for us every day. It's brought to you by the great folks at Slice Pizza, 5 locations in town.
Yeah, 5 great locations. Stop in, see the Bajalia Brothers, local pizza, local ingredients, from the hot mama to the soul pie, the Bajalia special, the wing and a prayer. You're going to absolutely love it for lunch or dinner. Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, newest location in Edgewood. It is Slice.
Before you say first down, it was a former Auburn athletic director, Alan Green, has been hired as the new Pitt athletic director. That was it. Not a big story, but one I wanted to get out there for you folks. Let's do first down.
First down.
More total touchdowns tomorrow. Carson Beck or Quinn Ewers?
This just feels like Georgia's setting up for an impressive Georgia win. Maybe not blowout. I'm just meaning Georgia goes on the road and wins by like 10, and everybody's like, oh, we doubted Georgia.
I cannot believe how much people are doubting Georgia, and I think something's off. But I just haven't seen Texas tested yet.
I'm gonna stick with Georgia here, and I'm gonna take Carson Beck.
What made you feel like something was off with Georgia? Was it more the Alabama game or the way they played Mississippi State last week? It's the way they played Mississippi State last week. It was
Bama to me, just the first half. They were down 28-0.
Yeah.
Like, in what world does Nick Saban ever have a team that's down 28-0? This Kirby Smart team is different than the Kirby Smart teams of the past.
It just seemed like.
And back to your point, though,
Carson
they were up
Beck
24.
did everything wrong in that half.
Well, they were up 24 in the second half, and they're going against a true freshman quarterback and a first-year coach. Those are games that Georgia usually wins by 40 going away.
Yeah. So that was the one that started to really concern me, because the way they fought back against Bama, I was like, okay, this team isn't that far off. They just had a couple of things that went the wrong way.
But then did they blow you away in the Auburn game? I mean, they look good. They look dominant.
It was what Georgia usually does against the SEC East back in the day.
That's right. It's what it looked like. And then against State, they're just like, I don't know. It does feel like something is missing, but this is when I think Georgia gets it together.
I agree with Brown on the answer, though.
Second down.
Again, more total touchdowns tomorrow. Jalen Milroe or Nico?
Total touchdowns, I'm going to go Nico. But Jalen is the offense. I want to see how close to 100% he is running the ball when he runs, because I agree with everybody who watched the game last week. I think at some point he got banged up, tweaked, or something in that game. He didn't seem to be moving as freely as he usually does. Hopefully a week of rehab and freshness going into this game. Crisp fall air in the foliage in Knoxville gets him going in the right direction. But I'm going to go Nico in this one. Problem is they may be running it in with Dylan Sampson, which will take down Nico's numbers.
The last time Alabama played in this stadium, we had the greatest single-game performance in the history of Alabama football by a quarterback.
That's right.
I don't think we're going to get that out of Jalen Milroe, but I do think he'll have a good game. I would say Jalen Milroe more total touchdowns than Nico.
Yeah, I think Jalen Milroe's 4 or 5 touchdowns in this game. So I'm going to go Jalen Milroe. I think Alabama wins the game.
Third down.
Okay, we got some birthdays here. Kind of random. Stick with me. Floyd Mayweather Sr. is 72. Jelly Bean Bryant, Kobe Bryant's father, would have been 70. Whose kid had a better career?
Wow, that is a tough one. I am going to go Kobe here.
Yeah. I mean, I know one's undefeated all time, right?
Yeah. You know, basketball is just a much bigger sport than boxing is right now. Yeah. Floyd Mayweather, there are the complaints that he didn't do it against the best competition in his weight divisions.
He dodged a lot of people until he finally fought that one guy after they were old, right?
Yeah, Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
A terrible fight.
Yeah, it was a terrible fight.
It was a fun night at your house, though.
Me and Wimp stood against the wall the whole time.
Pound for pound, I think Floyd Mayweather might be the best I've ever seen, but Kobe Bryant, there's something about him, and I think obviously his legacy even more magnified because of the untimely death.
Yeah. Now, I think I'd go Kobe over Floyd Mayweather, but that is a tough question.
Yeah, but Kobe was able to do it, with Shaq, and everybody's like, okay, he was with Shaq, and then Paul Gasol, and for him to be able to do it on his own.
Lighter weight from Mayweather, so this is maybe a different question. Hardest hit, Mayweather in a boxing ring or Kobe running through the guy at the Olympics?
It was Powell he ran through.
It was Paul Gasol.
Yeah. What was the hardest?
His whole teammate.
He hit him harder than Mayweather ever hit anybody in the ring.
But Mayweather was never hit hard.
Yeah, he was not.
Fourth down.
Trey Parker, 55 years old today. You guys might not know who that is. I know.
Former San Antonio Sports. Trey Parker.
No.
Tony Parker.
Tony Parker. But we are going to go with a point guard. Trey Parker, 55. Trey Young for the Atlanta Hawks. Ultimately, better career. I know Tyler's back there just shaking his head.
Oh, I know.
You're an idiot.
Oh, no.
If you'd give me a second guess, Trey Parker is Spider-Man?
Okay, keep going. See if you can get to what Trey Parker is.
Do you know who Trey Parker is?
Okay. I do, absolutely.
And
I'm not a fan, by the way.
Trey Parker's 55?
Yeah, I'm in the minority here. He's 55.
I mean, I know Melton knows it. I know Tyler knows it.
Okay, so Trey Parker is either an actor or is in the Marvel.
Nope.
I think he's acted in one movie. Basketball.
Jeremy's got your answer down there in the mybookie.ag chat room. South Park
creator. South Park. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Talented guy.
Yeah, he is.
No, he
so talented you couldn't pick him out of a police letter.
I just, he doesn't like a guy named Kenny. I know that.
Yeah, I'll take Trey Parker just based on Team America. I mean, he put that together too.
Now, who was my other choice?
Trey Young.
Trey Young.
Trey Young.
For the
Trey
Hawks.
Parker. Yeah, Trey Parker. Yeah.
I'll go Trey Parker too. I'm not a big Trey Young guy.
Give me some Trey Parker in this one.
Yeah, that's 4 downs. Brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, for lunch or dinner all weekend long, get a slice and a salad today. Pick up a couple of pies on your way home. Local pizza, local ingredients. Get in and see the Bajalia Brothers. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
Looking so much forward to this big weekend coming up. Make sure you follow us on social media over the weekends. We'll have a post-game reaction from Auburn and Missouri. Little T and I will be up in Knoxville for pregame and during the game and post-game reaction up there. In Neyland Stadium. Always love that trip up there. I think, LT, you're going up to the game as well. Don't you call this one of your favorite places to watch a game?
Yeah, it's my favorite SEC trip. Now, I haven't been to College Station. I haven't been to Columbia, Missouri. I haven't been to Austin now. I have been to Norman. But of all the trips, and look, I love LSU and Georgia, Ole Miss, great venues. And obviously our 2 in-state are fantastic. But the favorite road trip for me, it's got a lot to do with the time of year, driving up through the Smokies, seeing the foliage. When Tennessee is good, Neyland is just off the charts.
And we'll talk to one of their greats, Jayson Swain. He joins us on the other side about the big one. It's Alabama-Tennessee. Is it a playoff elimination game? We'll ask Jason next on TNR.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Your new Academy Sports and Outdoors is now open in Birmingham with the best in sports equipment, outdoor gear, apparel, and footwear from the brands you love, and all at low prices every day. Academy Sports and Outdoors carries a wide selection of trusted brands like Nike, Stanley, Brooks, Carhartt, Blackstone, Yeti, Titleist, Shimano, and more. Plus, you can shop online or on the app with free in-store pickup or enjoy free shipping to your home on purchases over $25. Your new Academy Sports and Outdoors is located at 4610 U.S. Highway 280 in Birmingham.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. It is the will to prepare to win." Hi, I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryant Bank, and I can tell you that our Bryant bankers have the dedication and the experience to put together a financial game plan that is right for you. At Bryant Bank, we specialize in community banking and offer personal and business loans, checking and savings account, mobile banking, and treasury management services. Stop by one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama to find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trustville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
Are you looking for a rewarding career? Adams Beverages is a leader in the beer industry and is hiring CDL drivers, warehouse staff, and sales reps. Whether you are a seasoned professional or exploring a new path, join Adams Beverages for an open house October 23rd from 10 to 4 at 141 Industrial Drive in Birmingham. With a commitment to quality and community, Adams Beverages offers a great place to grow your career. Learn everything about Adams Beverages and more on the October 23rd open house at adamsbeverages.net.
What's up, everybody? This is Mayor Woodfin, the mayor of the city of Birmingham. The McDonald's Magic City Classic, presented by Coca-Cola, returns to Legion Field October 26th. Watch the parade fill the streets of Birmingham. Turn up at the Coors Light tailgate party, enjoy the bands at halftime, and of course, bring that magic into the stadium. The best seats are selling fast. Tickets start at just $25. You don't want to miss it. Get your tickets now at magiccityclassic.com.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
All right, it's Alabama-Tennessee at Neyland Stadium this week. The long win streak for the Tide ended. Last time Alabama went up there, and now Nick Saban is not rolling back in there, so I guess it becomes a fair fight again.
Wow. Jayson Swain has been in some of these games back when it wasn't a fair fight on the other side there, Jimmy D, host of the Swain Event. You can follow him on Twitter at Swain Event. What is up, Jayson Swain, former Tennessee volunteer receiver? How are you today?
What's going on, fellas? I'm great.
Good. There is this thought. It was brought up on the show. I think, Dunaway, you brought it up, and I can't remember what your source was for this, if it was just speculation, that Josh Heupel has tried to throttle his offense to play towards his defense a little bit more. over these last 2 games. Does that have any merit whatsoever?
I think it does when you look at the Oklahoma game and how the Oklahoma game unfolded and kind of the structures that, and this is what Josh Heupel said, the structures that Oklahoma was giving them, showing them some things on film that they had not seen before. Defense was playing lights out. Oklahoma was having really a lot of trouble scoring. And I think in that moment it was smart to play complementary football, to be conservative on offense. I don't think that's the case in the Arkansas game. I just think offensively, guys didn't execute. Offensive line had a rough day. That's kind of been the theme in the last 2 games for Tennessee is getting protection up front. When you get that, making sure receivers are doing what they're supposed to do, making sure running backs are doing what they're supposed to do. It seems like there's guys taking turns not carrying out responsibility. And it comes down to execution. But, yeah, they did that earlier in the season for sure, being conservative and playing towards the defense.
Are you concerned with this offense, though? I mean, Nico, the facts are the facts. He hasn't thrown for over 200 in an SEC game. Everybody talks about Alabama's defense the last 10 quarters. They've given up 91 points. But you look at Tennessee's offense in the last 2 first halves. Shutout against Arkansas, shutout against Florida. As a former player, as a fan, as an analyst, when you sit back and watch, how concerned are you with Tennessee's offense?
I think you hear Alabama's defense, Tennessee's offense is exactly what the doctor ordered, right? When you look at Tennessee's offense, Alabama's defense is exactly what the doctor ordered. So anytime you are scoreless in 2 halves of football, which Tennessee has been the last 2 weeks, definitely a reason to be concerned. But if you're Tennessee, you look at the opportunity that you have with Alabama's defense so far. You look at Alabama having a hard time getting off the field on 3rd down, and second half against Georgia versus Vanderbilt versus South Carolina. Something has to give. And if you're Tennessee, you're hoping that this is a game where you can start making some plays. I thought Tennessee was close with some explosive plays against Florida. We saw some adjustments being made from the Arkansas to Florida game, but it comes back down to execution on both sides. And again, one unit will have to break. Will it be Tennessee's offense or will it be Alabama's defense?
So what you're saying, Jayson, is Tennessee's offense is a ticking time bomb, and they're about to explode against Alabama on Saturday. Did I get that right?
No, I do not know. I know there's opportunities, but it doesn't matter about opportunities. You got to go out there and execute. So I'm torn on this game. 2022, I was very confident that Tennessee would win. I saw what Tennessee did on the road at LSU. The offense really got going after sputtering. I mean, they sputtered early in the season that year versus Pittsburgh going to overtime, but I thought they broke through against LSU. I haven't seen that breakthrough with Tennessee's offense yet this year. So I'm torn. I can see Alabama winning. I can see Tennessee winning. I think it's going to be a great game, great atmosphere, but both teams enter this game with a lot of questions surrounding them both.
Jayson Swain is with us at Swain Event. Does a great show up there in Knoxville. And you can follow him there at Swain Event, the former Tennessee receiver, Alabama native. I have stumbled across a question we've got to end the interview with from the mybookie.ag chat room that I was unaware of with Jayson. Keenan Pili, the loss for him at linebacker, twofold, Jayson. Number one, just his play. He's the leading tackler for Tennessee. But number two, he's also the green dot guy. He was the guy that was getting the calls from the sidelines and giving them to the rest of the defense. So that is a major loss for this Tennessee defense.
Not for sure. I mean, before the season, there were a couple players that you couldn't lose to injury. Number one was Nico. Number two was Cooper Mays, the center. Dylan Sampson, your running back. And then on defense, it was Keenan Pili. The importance that he brings, also the depth with the linebacker room, it is not as deep as it is with the defensive line or the secondary. But Tennessee, they're going to roll with 2 guys that have played a lot of football as freshmen. And they're going to move the green dot communication duties around on the defense. I don't know how that's going to look, but that's what Tim Banks said, the defensive coordinator, earlier this week. So it's not going to be with just one guy. It's going to be with different guys. And so we'll see how that works out. But Keenan Pili, so important to this program, to this football team, to this defense. I mean, he's been here 2 years, and he's had season into injuries. And so I just feel so bad for him because he poured so much into the program and his teammates.
Sticking with that personnel on the defensive side of the ball, a lot of people coming into the season thought James Spears maybe the best player in all of college football. He's only got 2 sacks this year. I know he's missed a couple of games. He hasn't been 100%. How would you describe where James Pierce is right now?
Well, I mean, the reason why he missed games is because he's blowing teams out. And the second half of games, all the starters didn't play. And then, I mean, he's been healthy. There's been a lot of attention towards him. He's made the other guys better. Obviously, he needs to step his game up. I feel like he's done that in the last 2 weeks. Sometimes with those defensive linemen, the stats doesn't necessarily tell the story. With the running back, with the receiver, with the quarterback, those stats usually tell a bigger story than it does for a defensive lineman. So, last 2 weeks, Pierce has played well. He's played better, and he's going to have a big one in this one on Saturday, too.
I'm interested, if you were like us in the offseason SEC media days, we thought if you're 10-2 in the SEC, you're going to be a playoff team. So technically, if you lose this game this weekend, you're not out of playoff contention. But does this have a playoff feel to you? Are you like us? Do you think 10-2 is a playoff team in the SEC?
Yeah, for some teams, for sure. I think if you are a team like Tennessee or Alabama, you don't necessarily want your fate decided by someone else. You want to go out there and be 11-1, or hey, if you are 10-2, like you want to put yourself in the best position and put your best foot forward. Tennessee still has to play Georgia after Alabama, still has to play Kentucky, so it'd probably be in Tennessee's best interest to go ahead and get this win and make it a lot easier on themselves. Alabama, looking probably at the same scenario. So I feel like this is a playoff game. I feel like this is an elimination game for both teams. I think that's why there's so much on this game and so many people will be watching.
Credit to Brad in the mybookie.ag chat room. I had never made this connection as much as Jayson Swain has been on the show. He's one that got away from the state of Alabama and went and thrived in Tennessee. He played at Grissom High School. Brad says, and this is one of our favorite guests to have on the show, that you and John Summerall were held together at Grissom. Those are his words. We love having Coach Summerall on this show. I'd never made that connection that y'all were teammates at Grissom.
Yeah, absolutely. John was a senior when I was a sophomore, and no surprise that he's doing great things as a coach. I see him being in the SEC or being at a bigger school. We know that Kentucky job is something that is easy to link him to because he played at Kentucky, but you look at how he was raised by his mom and dad. There's no surprise how he's doing as a head coach. But yeah, we were on that Grissom team that had opportunity to win a state and came 2 plays away losing to Hoover. So proud of John, happy for John, him and his family, and man, I'm so happy that he is doing a great job, man. We'll see him in a big job here soon.
Yeah, he's a heck
no
of a
offense to Trelane.
Yeah. we agree with you.
Yeah, we're on board with that. Jayson, thank you so much for the time, man. Have a great week. Enjoy the game Saturday.
Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all, and we'll see if we get a win up here. It's going to be a great one.
Yeah, it should be a fun one. Thank you, Jayson. Take care. That is Jayson Swain at Swain Event, SwainEvent.com for the sports animal up there in Knoxville. He was with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
All right. We're going to tell you about a couple of our sponsors, but Tim, if you can just line up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll run through all these to get to the top of the hour. We'll do our headlines coming up in the next segment at the top of the hour. And, of course, trash still to come. And our picks at the end, Buffalo Wild Wings pick 3. But the show brought to you by the 100 Burger Bar from Milo's.
Yeah, hey, look, if you're setting up a tailgate, you just want to have people over and have a tailgate at the house. Our friends at Milo's and their catering, they can help you out. The catering options range from individualized box lunches, ideal for any work or team gathering. You can customize, build your own burger bar, chicken sandwich bar. These are a hit at any tailgate. Special offer to the next round viewer and listener. Milo's offering $10 off the first time catering order this fall. Enter code catering10. That's catering10, all caps, catering10 when you order Milo's catering through the Milo's mobile app. To learn more, miloshamburgers.com/catering. That is miloshamburgers.com/catering. Stay saucy.
Scotty Scheffler is the guest picker.
Saw that.
Yeah, what do you think?
Doesn't have much of a personality.
Yeah, not a big personality guy. I don't know that he'll have any jump off. I mean, it's just going to be normal Scotty Scheffler. It's going to be like Scotty Scheffler winning the Masters. You're like, he doesn't do anything glitzy and glamorous. He just is really good at what he does.
What if Jess walks him down to the stage with handcuffs? Him in handcuffs, would that not be a funny bit?
That would be. I mean, he's embraced that. He's not dodged from that.
Yeah.
Do you wear your green jacket? Well, yeah. I was trying to remember. There was a Masters champion that wore his green jacket. I was trying to remember who it was.
That was on game day?
Yeah, I was doing the picks, and I can't remember who it is now.
Bubba?
Might have been Bubba at a Georgia game.
Game?
Could have been. I was trying to remember.
Bubba's a blackout?
I can't remember the years lineup. It'd have to be the year you've won it to have the green jacket on your person. Otherwise, it stays at Augusta National.
Oh, so if you're out of sequence, if you've won, then somebody else has won. They're the reigning champion. You don't take the green jacket with you.
That is correct.
Oh,
so
interesting.
Scheffler could have it with him in that case. So we'll see.
Our show being brought to you by New York Butcher. Before we hear all the sounds, a great weekend to roll out there and get ready for the great food, even a Friday night.
Oh, yeah. Pick up steaks. Brown picked up some pork chops last week for Saturday night. What did you do on your sides? The rice?
I did the rice. It is actually just a recipe. This is how Jim works. At New York Butcher, he just gave me the recipe. Like, it's not something he's selling in
Did you get that sauce to put on the rice?
Yeah, I did it exactly the way he did the
fantastic.
recipe. It is terrific rice, but it's just the type of guy Jim is.
Yeah, so whether you're picking up the steaks or pork chops or whatever for this weekend, but remember, very important, Thanksgiving right around the corner. He sells out of the bird every single year, so he doesn't want you to miss out. Turkey's fresh, all natural, hormone free from Joyce Farms, one of the best poultry producers in America. They also carry smoked ham, certified Angus beef, prime beef tenderloins, rib roast. All of their side dishes prepared in house. Feed 8 to 10. However, they will do smaller sides, 4 to 6. Great desserts from pies, cakes, banana breads. Great wine selection to pair with your turkey or beef tender roast. Stop into one of those 2 locations. Cahaba Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. Rare quality, well-done service. It's the New York Butcher Shop.
Biggest problem for Alabama's defense. Think of what you think it is to yourself. Here's Kane Womack, the DC, and what he thinks it is.
That continues to be an area where we are not operating at an optimum level. If we want to be the defense that I think we are capable of being, we have to execute at a more consistent level on third down. When you look at it, there certainly were some challenging things that USC presented for us, but particularly on third down, it was a lack of execution on our part, putting our eyes in the right place, doing our job at a consistent level. And so those are things that we've got to continue to do. And that's not just in pass coverage. Some of it was in pass rush. I do think we took some steps in the right direction from a pass rush standpoint where we were able to generate pressure on the quarterback. I think that's part of why we were able to get takeaways in the game. We were able to get sacks in the game, but we're still not optimizing our ability to rush as a unit on a consistent basis.
For you micro freezers out there, lack of execution is what Kane said there. But that is what Roman Harper also told us yesterday, that they have an eye problem sometimes. Their eyes aren't where their eyes need to be. That is a statistical problem and a fact that Alabama's not been good on third down the last couple of weeks.
Well, and you just wonder how that mentally gets in Alabama's head. You know, when you get Tennessee maybe this weekend in a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, and Alabama starts to overthink this.
Yeah, 3rd and 7 back in the day with Saban and Smart.
It was off the field.
There's no way they're going
to. Yeah, I mean, I would literally think that 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 and above, teams converted maybe 20%, maybe.
Jalen Milroe coming off the offensive's lowest yard total in a game, 313 yards. On his maybe biggest growing problem, holding on to the football a little too long. What does Jalen say about that?
When you're playing against tough defenses, of course you don't want to get hit, but that's the part of the game. It's something where you have to lock in your read, have great eye discipline, understand the concept, because, up front, they're doing a really good job holding their block. But the more the quarterback holds the ball, that's when the pocket closes. So it's all about playing on time, keying the reads and stuff like that. So as much as I can do that, as much as possible, each and every rep that I have, that helps the offensive line out. And so, especially just playing on time, always trusting my eyes, and then, just putting it in our playmakers' hands as much as possible. But, I do definitely got to acknowledge, the pass rush when it comes to holding the ball at the quarterback position. You just got to get the ball out so that we're on the same page and so that we can move the ball effectively.
There's never been a time anyone has described Jalen Milroe this year as a game manager. The offense runs through him.
Yeah.
You could almost put that label on Nico right now, that he can be a game manager with the way they've been running the football with Dylan Sampson.
Yeah, but they are still taking a lot of shots with Nico. He's just missing them.
Yeah, just
and that's your fear if you're Alabama, though.
Yeah.
Does he hit those shots?
Yeah, he had late in that Florida game a wide open touchdown pass deep and missed the guy badly. I mean, it wasn't like an off the fingertips miss. It was a bad miss, let him out of bounds. He is off a little bit right now. There's no doubt Nico is off, and I don't think Jalen Milroe is. Like, look, the interceptions have gone up because he wasn't throwing any. He threw one against Vanderbilt, and he had the blindside hit where he fumbled the football. That's not really on him. That's a tackle.
Neither one of those were on him, I don't think.
I mean,
the interception
was a good play, but I mean, you did. There was a defender there.
Tip ball.
Yeah, it was a tip ball. I mean, I won't put that one on him. I'll say again, the two against South Carolina, one at the end of the half. I think his coach put him in a bad position. I don't know why you were throwing it right there on 3rd and 19 with 11 seconds. But still, he threw an interception. He, made it. The other one, I mean, I think most quarterbacks are going to throw that pass to Jeremy Bernard in the back of the end zone with a step on the receiver.
Yeah. The question becomes, how are you throwing it with the touch, right?
Right, and he tried to drop it down the chimney, and you got to give the defensive back credit for making a great play.
Yeah, came off his guy.
He did. He read it all the way.
There.
Yeah, I mean, that was just an exceptional play by a defensive back. I think a lot of quarterbacks would have thrown that interception.
I agree. Before Auburn and Missouri, what does Eli Drinkwitz think of the Tigers? Tell me, LT, about our friends at Gray's Tree Service. Cleaning up dead wood before the weekend gets here is always easy when you make one phone call to our friends at Gray's.
Yeah, I met with our buddy John Mark yesterday about a little project that we're putting together, and just fantastic work. And they appreciate all of the Next Round viewers and listeners reaching out. Whether you've got a project, you need some trees extracted like I did, how I met the guys a few months ago. Family owned and operated for over 25 years right here in Birmingham. I saw one of those Gray's trucks yesterday. You've probably seen them rolling around town. Experts in high-risk tree removal, pruning, soil health treatment to strengthen your trees and plants. Trusted by nearly every golf course in town, the Birmingham Zoo. No competition. Call 205-281-6100. Scan the QR code or visit graystree.com.
So you ever wonder what the opposing coach thinks of Auburn? We break down Auburn all the time. Here's Eli Drinkwitz on what he sees when he looks at Auburn on tape.
Got a very difficult challenge this week. I think Auburn is a very dangerous football team. When you look at the statistics that they have on both sides of the ball, there's really only one glaring weakness that they've had, and it shows up in all their losses, which is turnovers. Other than that, they've played well enough to win football games, and I think they were very talented on both sides of the ball. Offensively, they've got elite wideouts, they've got elite running back, they've got talented tight ends. On the defensive side of the ball, they've got elite defensive linemen, linebackers.
Yeah, so turnovers, and that is something we talked about earlier, but that is something Auburn's been improving on the last couple of games. If they have 0 turnovers tomorrow morning in Columbia.
Oh, they win the game.
They win the game.
Yeah, the turnover's such a problem against Cal, Arkansas. As you guys mentioned, they've cleaned it up a little bit over the last couple of games. But now they've got to find a way not only to turn it over, you got to get this offense going. This is what Hugh Freeze getting paid a lot of money. He's right there on the cusp of making $10 million a year. And this offense in year 2, when you look at Indiana's offense, coming off 3 wins last year, in year 1 is averaging 47 points per game. If I'm an Auburn fan, again, I'm disgusted where Auburn is currently. They can flip this thing around, but it doesn't look great.
And Coach Sig, by the way, I saw this last night. They have 30 transfers that are contributing right now. 30 transfers at Indiana that are contributing right now.
Well, look, and no disrespect, Peyton Thorne comes on the show. We like Peyton a lot, but Curtis Rourke would be a major upgrade. And this is a guy that was the former MAC Player of the Year, and he's played college football for 6 years. He's got a ton of experience, and he's running that offense flawlessly right now. They haven't played anybody, so they'll get their first bigger test tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock against Nebraska. But I'm just saying Auburn's offense has got to be better, and Hunter has got to get more touches than 13 a game.
Yeah, 14 turnovers for Auburn in the first 4 games. They've had 1 in the last 2 games. So they have played 8 quarters of football with 1 turnover. Now, it's as significant a turnover as you can get. It was a pick 6 that won the game for Oklahoma, right? they've cleaned this up a lot. Still hasn't led to wins, though, and that's the thing. You think if they're 0 in the turnover column again this week,
I think they win the game.
They win the game outright.
Yeah, especially if they run the ball a little bit more with Jarquez. The biggest game in the country is another top 5 matchup in the SEC. It's number 5 on the road at number 1. Steve Sarkisian spent some time. It's just his third job, right? He had USC, he had Washington,
yep.
and now Alabama as a head coach.
Yeah, and he's coached
now Texas as a head coach.
He is gone, and this is obviously a top 10 team he's facing. He's faced 10 top teams in his career. Do you guys want to guess what his record
so
is?
So he's 10 top 10 games?
Yep.
It's not going to be great because he didn't win many meaningful games at Washington or USC that I can remember.
And I'm trying to think of the top 10s he's played at Texas.
I'll tell you, one of these is a Michigan win this year, which
it's a Michigan win, and
we'll still give it to him. Yeah,
and he beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa.
So I'm going to say 2-8.
I'm going to say 2-8.
It's
Those are his
2-8.
Those are his 2.
It's 2-8.
We just named them. Both of them were at Texas.
Yeah,
That's
I do.
right.
Outside of the fact that Texas maybe just is better than Georgia, everything is lining up for Georgia.
Everyone will, especially me, try to give Nick Saban credit for everything. But Steve Sarkisian learned one thing about college football and building his team when he was in Tuscaloosa, and that was all about culture. Here's Sark on what he's trying to do and has done in Austin.
I believe in culture, and I don't, not everybody does probably the way that we do, but I do believe culture beats talent. And I said that before when maybe we weren't the most talented teams, but culture beats talent. But I've also said that culture and talent combined is really dangerous. And I think that's why we've become a dangerous team, is because we've built a culture, but we've assembled talent along the way. And that's a credit to our players and their belief in the culture and the character that they came in with to pour into that culture and make it better than it even was before.
So after talking to Chip and Zay yesterday, and I came up with this, and I talked about it last night. I don't know how much you remember this. Not that you were like pounding cocktails, but I just don't know if it was significant enough.
A big old chicken finger.
You were eating, and I went back and got more after we left.
That thing was amazing.
But I do think when he talks about culture, I think this is really important because Chip told me that the culture is outstanding right now. And one of the reasons he thinks Texas is going to win this game, I think Kirby is in a spot that Nick Saban was in last year, where you're being held hostage and you have to placate to a bunch of 20, 21-year-olds that want raises every week. And you can't do the things you used to do. Now, Kirby is
saying the culture is not what it used to be at Georgia, and it is now a good culture at Texas, and the culture is not the same at Georgia.
So it's a looser culture at Georgia. It's a loose culture in Texas, but I'm going to get to my point here in a second. So I think with Kirby ruling with an iron fist, and you still saw him try to shove Glenn Schumann and hit Michael Van Buren, those days are past right now in college football. And for a lot of people, that's unfortunate. But you look at Steve Sarkisian, this is a redemption story. His players look at a guy that failed, hit rock bottom, and now has come back. He's a player's coach. I think that they can relate on some level to being at rock bottom, whether it was an aunt or it was a brother or sister. It's an incredible redemption story. I think his players appreciate him, and it's a loose locker room right now. And I think for Kirby, you've got other stuff going on with, the driving violations and everything. You've got a loss.
Part of that's culture.
You're being doubted. Yeah, I think a lot of this is culture. I don't know if Kirby really knows. I don't want to doubt him. He's the best active coach right now in college football. But the way he was brought up as a coach is very difficult to coach in today's space.
Still makes you tuck your shirt in.
Well, but here's the thing, too, is I think there's a natural – Georgia has made it to the top. Now, not a lot of these players were there for that, right? Because they missed the playoffs last year. It's easy to forget that. They missed the playoffs last year, but Georgia has been to the top.
You're talking about hunger here now.
Yeah,
Yes.
and Texas has not been there yet. You let Texas get to the top and win one if they do, or maybe win two, and see if it remains that way. That's the challenge, right? I mean, Nick Saban talked about that all the time, even before NIL and transfer portal and all that.
And truthfully, it's what Saban was the best at for 17 years, of being able to recreate that hunger oftentimes in a team.
But once you do establish a consistent culture, a winning culture, it sticks for a long time. I really think this is the challenge for Kirby. I don't think his culture has changed. I think the behaviors and the entitlement and everything that goes in, and it's just what it is right now, and you got to get used to that, and you got to find a way around it. And I don't think Nick Saban at 73 wanted to deal with that.
A little bit on culture is that if you're a hard coach, one way you can get a guy's attention is you sit his ass on the bench. Well, Kirby Smart explains to us why there aren't as many butts on the bench to put into the football game anymore at Georgia. Listen in.
Kirby, I think in August you spoke about needing to build up the number of players capable of playing winning football and how, the portal and everything was deteriorating it. I'm curious, does that at this point continue to be a challenge or an issue for this team, would you say?
No, I wouldn't say that's a challenge or issue for this team. I think it's a challenge and issue for every team, not relative to us, right? I don't think anybody, when I talk to my coaching peers and we share messages, I think everybody lacks the depth maybe they had the year before. Maybe one year you're like, oh, I got a few more linemen than I had last year. But on the whole, there's not great depth, right? Our issues have really been inconsistency, not depth. We've had some injuries in some spots, and we've got 4 or 5 starters out, depending on how you count a couple guys from injuries. But inconsistency, I would say yes. Portal / depth, no, not yet. I mean, I would like to have more guys that can play winning football. I would like to have played more players by now. But we're looking at our snap counts, and they're higher than they've been years before for the starters. Why is that? Well, we've been in tighter, tougher games.
Yeah. Easy to explain. Alabama and Georgia had all the depth in the world, but if you're one of these 5-star guys and you're second or third on the depth chart, and you have, I don't care if it's an Indiana or a Nebraska or an Arizona State, if they call you, hey, you are going to start immediately and we're going to pay you more than you're getting paid right now, it's really not much of a decision for these kids.
By the way, yesterday, 5-star quarterback, a guy is a top 10 player in the 2026 class, Jared Curtis, decommitted from Georgia. 6 schools that, quote, stand out to him. And again, it's 2026, so not this cycle, but the next cycle. Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, South Carolina, USC, and Oregon. If he does not go back to Georgia and picks one of those 6, the timing of that decommitment feels a little bit like Oregon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He decommits from Georgia after Oregon's now number 1 after they just beat Ohio State. You got an old quarterback out there, quarterback of the future, maybe 5-star there. Maybe it's Alabama. I don't know. But maybe it's Ohio State, USC, South Carolina, or Clemson. But Oregon pops real quickly there.
Just real quick to this point. Georgia is really good this year. Gunnar Stockton's the backup quarterback. You know how many attempts he has?
0.
No, he's got 12, but it feels like 0. Ty Simpson, Alabama.
I can't remember watching Gunnar play now.
I know. It may have been like one of those Tennessee Tech games or something like that. Gunnar,
I think it was the Tennessee Tech.
Ty Simpson, Alabama. You know how many attempts Ty Simpson has?
In a game?
In a game this year.
Western Kentucky,
that's
7.
14.
Was that all Western Kentucky?
I'd have to go look at his game log. Yeah. I mean, Dante Moore at Oregon. Oregon's undefeated. If Georgia beats Texas, Oregon might be your number 1 team in the country Sunday. Dante Moore's got 4 attempts. I mean, it's wild that we live in this world where if you don't get playing time, you transfer. Yet it's these top teams.
I do think with those 2 teams that you just mentioned, I think Dante Moore knows that more than likely he is going to be the starting quarterback for Dan Lanning next year. I think Ty Simpson really believes he's going to be the starting quarterback next year for Kalen DeBoer.
Pritchett making a great point over there. So too is Landmine Believer. Can you imagine Derrick Henry in today's world, TJ Yeldon, Damian Harris all waiting on a roster?
Almost impossible.
To get out there to be the quarterback.
Yeah, I think it's more difficult to balance these college rosters now with NIL and like the buried numbers that you don't know about and everything that's going on behind the scenes than balancing a 53-man roster with your general manager in the NFL. The NFL has got so many less headaches outside of traveling to London that the college game has now, and that's why I'm afraid.
Contracts and rules and free agencies and windows and all of that.
I'm telling you, Lincoln Riley, sooner than later, is going to bolt from USC. Kalen DeBoer, we'll see how this thing plays out, but it would not shock me if he bolts sooner than later. There's too many headaches.
Well, one more question after you tell us about our friends at Hemp Hill, Lance's Lock. Jump on for the weekend, lanceslock.com, brought to you by Hemp Hill.
3 plays tonight. We're 6-1 this week. Jump on board with us. 205-229-2090. Adam, Chad, Andrew, fantastic staff there, do incredible work. They are ready to serve you if you experience any of the plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
I couldn't get anybody to give me a straight answer last night down at Auburn. But speaking of NIL, I was just wondering, has anybody heard any money numbers that brought Janai back to Auburn and brought Mark Sears back to Alabama?
I have not.
I asked Little T this.
Yeah.
What do you?
Now, I heard the Janai number last year, so go back a year ago, and Janai was a good player, but I heard he was paid six figures, but I think it was the lower six figures.
Yeah, but
I think for Sears, it has to be. I did hear a number for Sears. I heard 750. I heard 750 is the number for Sears.
Okay.
And I heard in the offseason there were some Alabama fans that were debating it. And I'm like, you don't debate that. That guy's worth seven figures.
I mean, if I told you.
I bet Broom got 500.
500,000? Mm-hmm. Oh, you don't think either one of them are making $1 million?
I mean, maybe with everything. I'm talking about just the collective saying, hey, here's what we're giving you. And then they got other NIL deals. They're probably both making over $1 million. And I don't know if my numbers are correct, but I did hear 750 for Sears, and I'm guessing 500 for Janai.
I'm betting both of them are over $1 million.
So I was going to point this out tonight. This is my play-by-play sheet for the game we're doing tonight. Lance is out of town, but Dunaway, Brian Pasick, and I are doing the Alabama-Wake Forest game, and this is my play-by-play chart that I make.
God, that looks a lot like mine.
This is like one I gave you, and I highlight.
Yeah.
I've got their season averages. Obviously, this is a preseason game, so it's last year's averages next to their name, and I highlight the ones that lead their team. What do you notice about Mark Sears' line right there?
He leads the team in 4 categories.
At scoring, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage. He's actually tied with Reitzel on that one. And free throw percentage at 91%.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty good, man.
I mean, when you lead in those 4 categories.
He had the best season in Alabama basketball history.
Probably so.
They've had some major players.
Yeah. And I was talking about that at their event, whatever it was called, the banner raising night. And somebody said, Sears likely going to go down as the most successful Alabama basketball player of all time.
Well, I mean, look, if he's an All-American this year and they make a deep run, whether it's an Elite Eight or a Final Four, I think he will be that guy.
Yeah, and he is a preseason All-Conference Player of the Year by the league, and some people, I think CBS Sports has him as a preseason
and I thought
National Player of the Year.
Not that I watched a lot of MAC basketball, but coming from Ohio, I thought he was going to be a really good point guard. Yeah. Had no idea that he would get to an elite status.
That's what Aaron Settles leaned over to me. He's like, how did he ever get out of the state?
Yeah, really. Why was he at Ohio to begin with, right?
How did he not end up at Alabama or Auburn or somewhere before he went to Ohio?
That's the unfortunate thing for these Group 5 schools, whether it's basketball or football. Once a guy develops, gone.
Yeah. Bobby says, Lance Brown and Jim, y'all can't have 20 combined guesses, and there are 3 teams. We can have 20 combined guesses, and there are 3 teams. So we're playing 20 questions. 3 teams in the top 6 of offensive yards per play that y'all won't be able to guess.
I would think Alabama, just based on the explosive plays. Now, maybe that was earlier, and maybe it's gone down. I would think also explosive plays, Oregon, but he said you can't guess them. So
he says you can't guess all 3. I would think
Army has got to be one.
Yeah,
Army's got to be one.
Okay, we only get 20 guesses, so Army's one.
I would like to put Boise State in there. Ashton Genty hits a lot of home runs.
He does.
So I put Boise in there.
Indiana's got to be in there.
Coach Sig back on the show.
You're going to put Indiana.
I'm going to put Indiana in there. I'm going to look at Texas just based on the fact that they really haven't played a defense.
I'm okay with Texas.
Let's just go 10.
Okay, we'll go 10. There's Texas. We're going to try to cut him in half.
I'm going to go ahead and pull it up because I'm out of guesses.
I'm going to go Arizona State.
You're going to put Arizona State.
Yep. I'm going to say just because Bobby's asking, Auburn's in there. I don't know how. That's impossible.
There's no way Auburn's in there.
I mean, we only had to hit 3, so let's throw Auburn in there just in case. Because that would have put it in.
Miami's going to be in there.
Because that would have put it into Bobby's algorithm.
Yeah, Miami's definitely going to be in
Miami
there.
Miami does.
And maybe Navy. Let's just go that, and we'll hold tight.
I got it right here. You ready?
Can we throw SMU in there?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more.
Top 6 of offensive. Top 6. I got top 6 right here.
Texas
I've already
Tech.
You want Texas Tech?
Yeah.
Okay, Texas
All right.
Tech.
Miami is number 1.
Okay, so we got one of them.
Okay.
Boise State's number 2.
We got 2.
So we got 2.
Navy is number 3.
We got 3.
Ole Miss is number 4. Now, boy, a lot of that came early.
We didn't have that.
Indiana.
Did we go 1, 2, 3? We had all.
We did 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, Indiana. We
Indiana's
got 4 or 5.
number 5. That's 4 out of 5. Did anybody say Ohio State?
Nope.
Okay. Army is 7. We did say Army.
Yep.
Alabama is 8.
We did say Alabama.
We're such a burner show.
Auburn is 9.
There we go. Look at that.
And Penn State is 10.
Yeah, I think
Texas is 11. You said Texas.
You are going to have to explain to me how Auburn is in this category.
I mean, that is Lance. I mean, I'm looking at it right here. Auburn averages
Keandre Lambert Smith, right?
7.35 yards per play. 10th. I mean, they're 2/100ths of a yard per play behind Alabama, and they're 10th of a yard per play in front of Penn State.
But outside of Lambert Smith, who's had these big plays?
Penn State's undefeated, and Alabama is a one-loss team.
And ironically, he played at Penn State.
Yep.
Bobby, you have to admit, LT and Brown did pretty good there.
I would never have thrown Auburn in the top 10, though. We could have guessed a long time.
Only reason I did is because he asked,
I know.
and he said you'll never guess it. So
Yeah, pretty good there.
Never
Pretty
would
good.
have.
Okay, top of the hour. This hour brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, champyschicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Final hour of the show coming up. They always bring you the final hour of the show. We'll do our headlines when we come back. At Sterling's Place, you get fried chicken that's brined overnight, hand-cut chicken fingers, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, wonderful desserts, wonderful sides, great bar area as well, and the unbelievable customer service that Sterling serves up. Over a decade in the same location, Highway 119 in Alabaster. It is Champy's Chicken.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
What's up, everybody? This is Mayor Woodfin, the mayor of the city of Birmingham. The McDonald's Magic City Classic, presented by Coca-Cola, returns to Legion Field October 26th. Watch the parade fill the streets of Birmingham. Turn up at the Coors Light tailgate party, enjoy the bands at halftime, and of course, bring that magic into the stadium. The best seats are selling fast. Tickets start at just $25. You don't want to miss it. Get your tickets now at MagicCityClassic.com.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
In some places, football is a sport. In Alabama, it's a fine art. New Life Art is proud to announce Daniel A. Moore's upcoming painting, Deuces Wild. This season, Bama is blessed with a pair of very talented deuces. The pair played a huge role on both sides of the ball in the Tide's amazing 41-34 victory over number 2 Georgia. Deuces Wild will portray the unbelievable game-winning 75-yard touchdown catch by deuce number 1, Ryan Williams, late in the 4th quarter. The Dogs' last chance drive was stopped by deuce number 2, Xavier Brown, as he made the game-saving interception in the end zone, which will be celebrated by a small artist's remark in the bottom margin of each print. Go to danielmooreart.com to see the artist's preliminary sketch and take advantage of special pre-publication pricing for Deuces Wild. Also available, The Legend, Daniel Moore's final tribute to Coach Nick Saban. Order now at danielmooreart.com.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Are you looking for a rewarding career? Adams Beverages is a leader in the beer industry and is hiring CDL drivers, warehouse staff, and sales reps. Whether you are a seasoned professional or exploring a new path, join Adams Beverages for an open house October 23rd from 10 to 4 at 141 Industrial Drive in Birmingham. With a commitment to quality and community, Adams Beverages offers a great place to grow your career. Learn everything about Adams Beverages and more on the October 23rd open house at adamsbeverages.net.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Final hour of the show. As always, we have a cocktail flowing up here. Some of us are able to pour good beers. I'm not one of them, so it's all over my right and left hand. It's getting there, Brownie. It's getting there.
They say a lot of head in this one. Would you say a lot of head in this beer, Lance?
Yeah.
A head heavy pour by Jimmy D.
We don't use those kegs enough anymore, LT, is the quote you usually give.
You saw the pour I just did for Little T with the
because I'd already pulled one off of there.
What did you pour mine off of?
Stella and a Mick Ultra.
He went Mick Ultra.
So
okay.
I can't lose there. I covered both bases there. We'll get to our headlines in just a second. This hour of the show always brought to you by Champy's. Champy's world-famous fried chicken. The chicken fingers and the Mississippi Delta tamales would kill for some of that right now. But we just had when you travel with Taylor, sometimes it's just a one meal trip. Like she didn't like to eat like Brown does when we're on the road. Brown and I enjoy good food, and we'd had a lunch and a dinner at some point yesterday. We just had a tweener between lunch and dinner. So I was hungry when I got home, hungry right now. That's where Sterling comes in. Best food, Southern fried chicken, and so much more. Highway 119 in Alabaster, especially if you're going to high school football tonight or to the games tomorrow, stop by and see Sterling down there. All right, McCurry brings us our headlines. We're about to get to them. We'll get back to the games in just a second, and our Buffalo Wild Wings Pick 3 will end the show up. This is one of my favorite weekends, the Alabama game at Tennessee. I like Alabama at Tennessee. I like the Iron Bowl at Auburn, and I like Alabama at LSU. Those are my three favorite games in the SEC. When Alabama's in Auburn, when Alabama's in Baton Rouge, when Alabama's in Neyland.
Yeah, I like Neyland when anyone, as long as Tennessee's good. I think Neyland, to me, is my favorite.
But you have to admit, this is the perfect weather
Tiger
time
Stadium's
of the year.
right there. Oh,
Perfect
yeah, no,
weather
it
time
is.
of the year.
And
I like it hot. A hot night at Tiger Stadium, not a day game.
Oh,
hot
really?
night, yeah.
Oof.
I like it muggy at Tiger Stadium.
Muggy. That's all you ever get in Louisiana is muggy.
Yeah, I kind of, I've had both in Tiger Stadium because I was at the, and I'm sure you were there. I don't know if you were, the Fran game.
I was not. The 31-0, whatever it was.
It literally, not the most miserable I've ever been in a game, but the coldest I've ever been.
Yeah.
The most miserable is the 2000 Iron Bowl. I think most people would agree with that with the freezing rain. But, man, it was like, I want to say low 30s, maybe high 20s.
Yeah, and it's a moist area down in Baton Rouge.
It's awful.
So when you get cold and moist,
and we stayed.
It's
so
beach cold.
We had a trip with a bunch of Bama guys for about 15, 16 years where every year in Baton Rouge we would all stay in New Orleans, drive over, and then come back. And New Orleans that weekend was really miserable because when you're jumping bar to bar.
Yeah, I'll tell you a random cold game I went to once. Well, the Iron Bowl, we've all talked about that. I think we were all there for the 00 Iron Bowl.
I left at halftime.
The sleet. I traded tickets up in the street, buddy of mine and I, to sit. Alabama's got the covered upper decks and the newest one that's just got the bleacher seating, not the the chairbacks. $5 a ticket. The weather was so bad, and he was like, "Man, this is gonna be too high." I was like, "We're going to be under that cover up there, and you're going to thank me for this later." And sure enough, we sat there and shivered, but we did not get sleeted on that whole game.
Yeah, I'm a retractable roof guy. Yeah, I think some football should be played in elements.
Well, hey,
the ones I'm watching on TV.
I was thinking about this, though. We're going to get to where Green Bay's about the only weather game you play. Yeah. Because Cleveland, I don't know if you've seen it, Cleveland's talking about going retractable.
What about Buffalo?
Now.
In the suburbs.
Buffalo is
outside.
Outside, but aren't they doing covered fans?
Covered fans, fields outside.
Yeah, fields outside.
It's going to be with the heaters and all of that for the fans.
But MetLife, that ain't going nowhere.
That ain't going. But I'm just saying, like Cleveland,
there ain't gonna be a lot of them.
Cleveland's going dome. It looks like Chicago's talking about going dome. Minnesota has already gone dome. Detroit's dome.
My Rams braved the elements. Ask Georgia fans.
Yeah, it's raining inside the dome.
All right, Tim's about to hit the big button for our spotlight today, and then Brownie will tell us about McCurry. Hit it, Tim.
The College Football Spotlight.
Like the game's already been played. Monday's headlines today.
McCurry Van and Car Rental, the company to go to when it comes time to rent that vehicle. They are all over the place in North Alabama. You need that car, that van, that truck you rent from McCurry. SUVs, passenger vans, trucks, easy to rent, in and out fast. Locations in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Coleman on 2nd Avenue Northwest, and Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Reserve that rental today, 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com. That's 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com.
Let's start with mine in the middle there, Melton, because mine's usually the most boring this year. I've not been really good with the headlines. Much better on my picks this year. I think I'm leading both ways. But,
oh,
wow. This is from Old Quarterback Digest. Pokes greater than Soaks. OK State, TGIF's BYU, 27-24 tonight.
I kind of like that one, Jimmy. That's pretty good.
Big fan of the Pokes.
Pokes greater than Soaks, yeah.
I mean, save money. Don't get a bed shaker. Pokes greater than Soaks.
Okay.
And Thorn in My Side. Great. The Arithmetics, Thorn in My Pride. Thorn in My Side is... Thorn
in My Side is...
Black Crows. The Black Crows.
Yeah.
Brownie's band.
Yeah. And I was thinking biblically as well. You know, Paul had a thorn in his flesh, so you could have gone that way too. Yeah.
But this is Missouri talking. Thorn in My Side. 30-28. Tigers, Auburn Tigers, break out of Zoo, Z-O-U.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so those are my two
very We can go with me next, Mountain. I think Brown's going to be better than mine.
I don't know. Mine was a little weak.
Yeah,
my sub-headlines
mine is too. Hey, Fast and Furious meets Friday Night Lights in Austin. Turns into another pole assassin as number one goes down.
I like that. A pole assassin works out with number one.
This will be our
down.
fourth number one after Georgia wins this game on Saturday.
Yeah,
Fast and Furious meets Friday Night Lights.
Look at the pole assassin.
Yeah.
Is she playing with his junk?
Oh, you know, I
think she's holding his hand. LT.
Settle down, little fella.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of a what is it? I guess it's a monkey ring or a ring monkey. Have you guys ever heard of this? It's really
I have not. Let's keep going.
And you can buy them, and it's just a live monkey that like wraps around your finger. Seems like a waste of time.
The monkey's like big enough, small enough just to be on my finger?
Yeah.
And it's a live monkey?
Yeah, and people.
Wait a minute, no, it's an actual live monkey. This is not a piece of jewelry?
Maddie was telling me she had some friends in high school that had these things. I didn't believe it, so I looked, and of course, the breeders are taking them way too early from their moms.
Uh-huh.
And so apparently they have a miserable life living on your finger.
You remember the commercial?
I can only imagine.
The commercial that had the little baby giraffe, and people thought that they were those legitimate.
Yeah.
The
Russian had it from DirecTV?
Yeah, the DirecTV commercial.
Did he have it running on a treadmill?
He did, and people thought that there was those baby giraffes.
Oh, I wanted one of those.
Yeah. Where are we going, Brownie?
Indianapolis Star, no smoking. Nebraska extinguishes Coach Sig's hot start. It's a big win for your Nebraska Cornhuskers, Dunaway. You're all in on them. Coach Sig out.
God, I hope Nebraska wins this game.
We've got some.
What is your hate for Indiana?
I don't know.
He just thinks they're a fraud.
I want Indiana to be good at basketball, not good at football.
Yeah.
I want some absolutes.
You think people are saying that about Bama basketball?
In the final chapters of my life, I want some absolutes.
Page 2, the Prince of Bahrain threatens executions if he does not get the same vest as Birmingham man. Some guy bought a vest in Auburn last night for $425.
Did you take it back?
By the way, taxes. I didn't realize taxes. It's $465 without tax. $462 with taxes.
What the crap?
I just hope that guy was working a commission.
Nobody. If they didn't hear that story last time, let me do my other headline.
Well, save it for the next time I wear it.
Okay, Nick
Which
Saban.
will be 3 days next week.
Yes.
Yeah, does Maggie know about it yet?
Yeah, I did. I called her.
Yeah.
I called
James.
her. Yeah.
Reese Davis teased us Wednesday, saying that there could be a member of the game day crew that's in a F1 car that's got Alabama ties. Sounds like Nick Saban. Nick Saban drives F1 car for college game day promo, ends up winning pole position.
That's right.
So good for him. Guy cannot lose at anything, can he?
Yeah.
Well, you win the pole in that sport, you win the race, basically.
Yeah. Boring.
Yeah. Woo. Tried watching that after I watched that Netflix show. Yeah. No, thank you.
So the big surprise to me would be if Saban's actually driving and it's not Cedric. That would be the...
That would be a funny bit.
Yeah.
Now, it's kind of locally funny. I don't know if the whole country would get it, but if the F1 car pulls up, Saban just steps out, Cedric's behind the wheel.
Does Ced still travel with him?
Yes, he does.
Thanks, Cedric.
Yeah. I saw Ced. Where did I see Ced?
Car's not going to drive itself.
Nope. I saw Ced at one of the game days. That was like one of those behind-the-scenes videos, and Ced was with him.
Yeah. Good times, good times. That's our headlines. Brought to you by McCurry, Brownie.
McCurry Van and Car Rental. Rent from McCurry. McCurryRentals.com. That is McCurryRentals.com.
All right. So we're getting ready for this big weekend coming up in college football. But as we mentioned earlier, it's a big weekend in the National Football League as well. And we get to enjoy the brands of Kansas City and San Francisco this weekend. but I do feel like better matchup between two Super Bowl contenders is Detroit and Minnesota. It just doesn't feel like the 49ers have Super Bowl juice this year.
I don't know. Brock Purdy's actually playing pretty well. The problem is they can't get healthy.
Yeah, they're banged up.
If they get healthy, San Francisco is going to be just fine because there's nobody else in that division that can touch them right now.
The game I'm most excited about, though, is Minnesota and Detroit.
Me too.
It's just, and I brought this up to Orlovsky yesterday. Ben Johnson is getting rave reviews for the work he's doing with that Detroit offense, calling plays. And Brian Flores, again, I wasn't the massive fan of Brian Flores as the Dolphins coach. Didn't hate him, didn't love him. He was the coach. But Buddy, as a defensive coordinator, he has been fantastic for Minnesota.
Great. And he's always been well respected. One of the reasons he got the Dolphins job, such a good defensive coordinator. Obviously you want to see Detroit whole and having Aiden Hutchinson, maybe the best defensive player right now in the NFL. And I wanted to see Sam Darnold and how he would hold up against it. They're just not going to be able to get the pressure without Hutchinson that they got in the past. So I think this changes. Detroit's still really good, but I think this changes from Detroit possibly winning a Super Bowl to Detroit just being a playoff team.
He could come back. Now, they list him at 6 to 8, right?
But, talking to some people, they're like, this could be a career ender for him.
Are you serious?
Well, if you saw how it broke.
Oh, it was ugly.
But they were very quick to say after the surgery, no ligament damage, no muscle damage, none of that stuff. That could happen when you have a severe break like that.
I did see the timeline 6 to 8. I would be shocked if he comes back this year.
Do you know how bad it must hurt for your leg to break by hitting another man's leg?
Oh.
Do you know how bad that pain must have been?
It was like a leg whip, right?
Yeah.
He was kind of getting whipped, and there was another defender coming across, and his leg
was it not Conor McGregor, Melton, that the kick? Tyler would know. Yeah, where he kicked the guy in the shin and his leg just snapped.
Oh, God, that's got to be awful.
I mean, the velocity on bone like that for it just to completely just break in half.
Were you watching that, Milton? Do you remember?
I was watching it.
I was not watching that. I was probably watching wrestling at that point. So.
Oh, you've seen some gruesome ones in wrestling too.
Yeah. Jim keeps trying to throw out the Vince McMahon documentary. I think I maybe am the only other person up here that's actually seen the whole thing.
Did you watch it? Did you like it?
I did like it very much. A lot of it was kind of rehashed material, but it was done in such a really well-produced way with Bill Simmons being behind it that I was a big fan of it. So.
Well, see, I wouldn't even know what's rehashed. So.
Well, see, me too. It was all new to me. Like, all new to me. So
no,
I was
definitely
like, wow.
worth a watch on Netflix.
Like, first of all, I didn't know Hulk was that big, Hulk Hogan. I loved the takeover of McMahon following his father up and deciding we're not doing these territories anymore. I'm going national. I'm surprised he didn't get killed because I felt like the mob controlled some of those territories.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're interested in the territories and all that, the Iron Claw movie that came out with Zac Efron last year was really good about all of that. So that may be the next thing that spirals you into being a wrestling fan at some point.
Some of these lawsuits that have been filed, they wish the gangland would have gotten a hold of Vince McMahon back in the day.
And then I remember the Hart kid dying.
Yeah, Owen Hart, yeah.
Yeah, but, I don't think I remember they went on and wrestled the rest of the night with his blood stain still on the mat. And you can see several shots where...
Oh, they did go ahead with the event?
Yeah.
Well, Vince McMahon in the documentary says if that had been him that had suffered that tragedy, he would have wanted the show to go on too. And I actually believe him.
Yeah, I believe that too, but that doesn't mean the Hart family would have wanted that, and everybody else that had to wrestle after that would have.
That is correct.
Yeah, they announced his death still during the matches, right? Wasn't it Jim Ross?
They announced his match to the television audience, but not to the in-arena audience.
So the in-arena audience didn't know
that. They had
no
idea.
I did not know that.
That's why they continued it on, because they didn't really see anything. The lights were out when it happened.
Yeah, but it was Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler, right? And they announced his death on TV.
Yeah.
If you had a athlete in a college football game die, they would call the game.
They would, absolutely, yeah.
In the documentary.
I mean, it happened in the NFL when Hamlin almost died. They didn't play the game.
In the documentary, they said they rolled his dead body out of the tunnel. At the same time, they were pushing the next match out, saying, "Go, you guys are out. You guys are out."
Jeez.
And they were all close friends. And,
did they have his hand hanging out where they could all like tap the Notre Dame sign? It's been a long time. It's been like 20 years.
Yeah.
Make fun of the Titanic all the time. That was thousands of people that died.
You guys can't see it real quick, but does Cam Newton have a fly, a stuffed fly on the top of his hat?
Cam's
He's got a parrot on his ear.
I mean, is that a spider?
No, it's a spider. It's a Halloween hat.
No, it's his hair.
It's not his hair.
No, it is 100%
It's
his
the
hair.
hair out of the top of his hat. That's what it is.
He's got a hole in the top of his hat, and he pulls his hair up through it.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Looks
His hair.
absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, but the graphic behind it, I thought it was two fly wings. I thought it was a fly to start with, but no, it's his hair out of the top of his hat. That is interesting.
It looks like a stuffed spider.
So his hat.
That would be the
is
biggest spider
halfway
in
down
history
his
of
hair.
spiders.
That's an interesting hat. Stephen A. dressed in all white today on that show. All right. When we come back, we'll do trash early and then talk football all the way to the top of the hour. Again, Melton with us today because Forrester is off. His daughter, about 27 minutes ago, signing her volleyball scholarship to go play college volleyball, and Forrester was there for the signing. They had the coach in town, and I keep waiting for that picture to come rolling in. Maybe, he's not thinking about the show today. He's thinking about his family. God, Forrester, come on, man. The show being brought to you by Dr. B. If you want hair like Cam or LT's, you can get it from Dr. B.
Yeah, I don't know if Dr. B can give you Cam Newton hair, but if you want to maintain what you've got, grow a little bit back, exactly what me and Brown are doing right now, Dr. Beckenstein is the man. 205-319-0316. Dr. B offers Sensor Transdermal Infuser. This enables Dr. B to get various medicines and therapies into the scalp where the hair follicles are without using any injections. This is revolutionary as Dr. B can pinpoint delivery of a patient's genetically specific products without any needles. 205-319-0316. I do the non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. My hair has more than doubled in thickness. Make the phone call we made, 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
Follow LT on Twitter @thelancetaylor.
What's up, everybody? This is Mayor Woodfin, the mayor of the city of Birmingham. The McDonald's Magic City Classic, presented by Coca-Cola, returns to Legion Field October 26th. Watch the parade fill the streets of Birmingham. Turn up at the Coors Light tailgate party, enjoy the bands at halftime, and of course, bring that magic into the stadium. The best seats are selling fast. Tickets start at just $25. You don't want to miss it. Get your tickets now at MagicCityClassic.com.
Hey, you. Feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair. To kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Bryant Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Our friends at Milo's Hamburger invites you to join them in the fight against hunger in our local communities by bringing non-perishable food items to your local Milo's, including canned goods. When you donate a canned good or any non-perishable food item, Milo's will give you a free drink. Together, we can make a difference.
You
could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Join the Adams Beverages team. They are hiring all positions, whether you have experience in the beer industry or not. Come to their open house October 23rd from 10 to 4, 141 Industrial Drive, Birmingham. A leader in the beer industry since 1937. AdamsBeverages.net. Final half hour of the show on this Football Friday, brought to you by our friends at Adams Beverage. As you heard in that commercial break, if you're watching or listening to us on the app or on YouTube or any of our video platforms, Adams Beverage hiring right now. So an opportunity if you want to jump into that with experience or no experience in the beer industry, they're there for you. We were at the big tip-off at Toomer's last night, which was an Adams Beverage event down in Auburn last night. Big crowd, and Cole Swindell in concert down at Auburn. So a big night with the streets blocked off at Toomer's Corner. Basketball tonight down at Boutwell with Alabama in action against Wake Forest. It's an exhibition game. It's being broadcast on our platform, on social media, on Twitter, X, also on the Hibbett's YouTube channel. Brown's on the play-by-play call. Pasick and Brian Passing of the Alabama Crimson Tide Sports Network and myself will be providing the color and analyst side of this. Also, we'll be debuting, fingers crossed, new technology called the NOAA basketball system that teams already use. But as far as a broadcast is concerned, we're going to use basically the basketball version of TrackMan tonight.
So one day we'll be watching the NBA Finals, and they'll be using this, and somebody will say, you know who used it first?
Yeah.
Right?
The test market.
The next round, they were doing that game.
And again, is it for like, okay, Steph Curry's hit 11 threes, but I will tell you, 7 of the threes were really close to not going down.
He's about to be cold. Or maybe.
I don't understand this technology.
I don't either.
Or maybe they're hitting the rim a lot, missing shots, and they're like, Steph is so close.
Right,
that he could get hot here in the second half.
So this is like next level gens or whatever. What next gen analytics or whatever they call it on the NFL games.
Steph's rotation is down 7% tonight from when he scored 33 in the last game.
Maybe it's that technical. I can't keep my eyes off Cam Newton's hair now. I can't believe that's hair.
It is 100%.
Like I don't know how it works if you don't have it perched on top of that. I don't even know what kind of hat that is.
I say it hangs down.
I would call that a bodega.
A bodega.
Yeah, I'm making that up. Just name brand of a hat.
Yeah,
he's got a big feather in it. He's got Mardi Gras beads around the brim. Could actually put a cocktail on that brim. It goes out so wide.
Brim.
You're not a big Cam Newton fan, are you? When it comes to wardrobe?
I mean, to each their own. Look, I know the way I dress, a lot of people dog that out, but Cam Newton's next level.
If you want to dress perfect for the game, your game day headquarters, our friends at the Pants Store, the original location in Leeds, multiple locations in Birmingham, Huntsville, and near campus, Tuscaloosa and Auburn, or anywhere you're watching or listening to us, pantstore.com, your game day headquarters. Bama and Auburn polos, hats, and quarter zips, sweatshirts as well. All the ladies' rompers and dresses with free alterations and free gift wrapping. All the name brands from Gentile, Antigua, Cutter Buck, Horn Legend, and footwear as well from Hoka, New Balance, and all the Western boots you need to be game day ready, whether you're heading to Knoxville or getting ready for the return to Saban Field or down at Pat Dye Field later on this year. Nothing says Roll Tide and War Eagle like the Pants Store, pantstore.com. Before we get to trash, we see these NFL games in London. We've seen NFL games in Mexico City, NBA games playing all over the world as well. If ever there's a professional franchise from a major sport in another country outside of North America, why not baseball? Because you go home stands where you're home for maybe 9 games. You go 9-game road trips. So it's not like the NFL where you go to London for a game and come back. That would be hard on a franchise in London and on the league. But in baseball, for instance, have a franchise in Tokyo. Go to Japan. You could be over there for 9 days. Game 5 of the National League Division Series. We all know the population of the United States much more than Japan.
Yeah, Yakuza's never going to allow it.
All I'm saying here, National League Division Championship Game 5 was watched by 7.5 million people in the United States,
$12.9 million in Japan.
And you know why.
Well,
I mean,
the Japanese influence, but they love their baseball too.
They do love their baseball, but that's two of the biggest Japanese players of all time that are playing in that game.
And they can't obviously afford to keep up with some of these salaries, but that is still a massive league over there.
It is.
And I just think it would detract a lot from what they're doing. I think Mexico City might make more sense, but I don't like any of the international.
I just think it's
But baseball does make a lot more sense than football.
But here's the aspect where it doesn't for baseball is the free agency. It's far more active in baseball. Like stars make it to free agency way more in football than star quarterbacks do, or way more in baseball than star quarterbacks do in football. And I think it's always going to hurt you in free agency. If you were a baseball player, would you want to live in London?
No, but
would you want to live in Tokyo?
But would it hurt me in free agency if Ohtani went free agent from the Angels and said, I'm going to play for Japan?
Well, yeah, but that's one guy.
And, the other pitcher for the Dodgers.
Okay, that's two guys.
You bring in the Korean players and you Darvish and some of those guys. I mean, all of a sudden.
You're just building an all-Asian team?
I'm Far East. It's like Little League, I guess. I'm a Far East all-star team.
That's right. Lance, I don't think a guy, give me a big-time free agent that's non-Asian, Jim, that has just hit free agency or just did a big free agent deal. That's not just give me one. Name me anybody.
Are you saying Freddie Freeman would not
Freddie Freeman's
leave Atlanta and go to Tokyo?
Do you think Freddie Freeman wants to live in Tokyo 6 months out of the year?
Tokyo is known as the Atlanta of the Pacific Rim?
I watched Mr. Baseball. That was the first movie Jennifer and I ever attended together. Mr. Baseball with Tom Selleck. You remember that one?
Very realistic film, right?
Oh, gosh. I thought it was a documentary when I was watching it.
Nothing says romance like Mr. Baseball on your first date.
Did he fall in love in the movie?
There was a love interest in there. A young lady and a geisha. Is that how you say it?
Geisha?
I'm not sure. I think it's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll ever see it just because of the free agency. I think.
Did he have a scandal why he left, or was he just washed up?
He was washed up. Old man, good player in America, couldn't make it in America. But you know what? In Japan, I can hit their pitchers.
Okay.
That's basically what it was.
So he was position player.
I think Tom Selleck was a first baseman in that movie.
Okay. That makes sense.
I think he was.
Probably an outfitter at one time in his career.
Now, Tom Selleck can handle the bat, though. They didn't have to use doubles for him.
Yeah, him, Costner.
Yeah. He used to take BP for the Tigers.
Baseball continues tonight as the championship series roll on. Great 72 minutes of baseball last night in that Guardians win over the Yankees. All right, it is trash time. Every day on the show at this time, we break away from sports and we give you trash on the table. LT has it for us. Hit the button there for us, Tim.
Now, the women love you when you get out there. Why do you think that is?
Because I look good.
That is? You
I
look
smell good. I feel good.
And you sing good.
And make love good.
Oh, well, there we are. We don't have to ask anybody else. We got that from the source. There you are.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Hey, if you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Whether you're a first-time buyer, a seasoned home buying veteran, their great service, low rates make the process so easy. Speaking of veterans, veteran founded right here in Birmingham. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home, your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop. Visit online, mortgageright.com/TNR. Call that Birmingham office, Highway 280, 205, 900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. So last night, we're at the Goose. They bring ketchup, honey mustard, and ranch. We had chicken breast, which were fantastic, and skinny, almost shoestring-like fries, which I love.
Their chicken finger Dunaway was that big. It was almost like a pressed piece of breast chicken.
Okay.
So I know that
but the fries are good too.
Is team honey mustard. I like ranch, but I go honey mustard in front of ranch. Do you disagree?
Honey mustard all day long.
Yeah, all day.
So you're honey mustard melting?
All day long.
Especially if it's a really good honey mustard. Upset last night. We stopped off at Chick-fil-A on the drive to Auburn.
Polynesian sauce instead of ranch?
She went Polynesian
Little
sauce
T did?
instead of ranch.
Polynesian is their best.
Little T's the queen of ranch, though.
I know. I wasted 2 ranches getting it for her.
So I do think it's a generational thing. I think more of the youngsters like the ranch, but Burger King and Hidden Valley Ranch are giving Big Dip energy. The 2 long-standing food brands collaborated on a new condiment innovation to make burger eating even more saucy. Big Dip Cups, Hidden Ranch, will be available at select Burger King restaurants around the country on October 16th. Now, the creative
so
concept...
I'm supposed to dip my burger in that tub of ranch?
Well, I mean, think about it. So most of the condiment package you get are 1 ounce.
Right.
That's 8 ounces.
And they're hard to open. They're the little pill-off thing.
Yeah.
And they're not big enough to put anything in but a small fry, basically.
Any sandwich you order, you get at no additional cost. This 8-ouncer, look, if you want to order online, you can do that as well. You can get as many as you want for $1 online. That seems like pretty good value for $1, doesn't it?
I agree. That's a lot of ranch for $1.
HiddenValley.com, by the way.
Okay. So I have never dipped a burger in ranch. However,
I would.
I have eaten burgers where they mix in the meat, that Hidden Valley Ranch mix.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? It's actually really good. That's a good burger.
You like your ranch around the board here. You like your ranch thick or runny? I'm a runny ranch guy.
I'm in the middle.
I'm in the middle, too. I mean, too thick is like blue cheese.
That's right. I don't want blue cheese.
Which I like blue cheese, too. Like when they ask me, what do you want for your wings? I'm like, both.
See, when I go wedge, traditionally wedge is blue cheese dressing. That's a dead hit right there. I go ranch.
2 feet short.
Yeah, hit the middle of the glass, bro. Yeah. You got a call coming up in the World Series. You gonna be an umpire? Put you behind the bullet. We're gonna challenge that. Give me the K zone.
Hit the window, bro.
Oh my God, it's not even close.
Well, I was watching on our monitor feed, and it looked like it hit the.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Did you guys see anything about Elon Musk's Cybercab event in Hollywood last week?
No, but the Cybertruck's the worst looking vehicle ever created.
I got one guy I play golf with, Brown, that I'll hit a tee shot. He's such a nice kid.
Oh, that's a good ball.
Eli, he's like, oh, good one, Dunaway. And I'm like, just wait a second. It's slicing into the woods.
That's
Eli.
That's
this seventh time I've told you this, Eli. It's not good. I didn't hit it good. It's going to be in the
Shut
woods.
up, Eli.
Well, this event operated in part through remote control by humans and a lot of robots. Now, the faceless, nearly 6-foot-tall figures served cocktails, danced to techno music, chit-chatted with guests, although Optimus bots were able to walk using AI. Many of their actions were controlled remotely by Tesla employees. After the event on Thursday, guests took to social media to speculate over the bots' so-called capabilities.
Pulling a beer with a cowboy hat. I like that.
I'm surprised they're not totally autonomous right now. Like, I would have thought in 2024 we would have robots that didn't need remote control. Now, Elon Musk is talking about in a world, he thinks it's going to be very important for these robots to be able to mow your lawn, walk the dog, watch the kids, or just be a friend. Billionaire said the bots are going to cost less than a car, between $20,000 and $30,000. How can just anybody afford $20,000 or $30,000 to have one of these robots?
It's going to be steep,
You're going to finance it through Elon Musk's bank.
This is all shits and giggles until this chokes out somebody.
That's right.
Dude gets home, his wife's laying, on the island. The robot's rifling through the fridge.
Yep.
You know, it
He's
is
dead on the kitchen floor.
Smoking a cigarette.
It is crazy. A little high. When I was a kid, the Jetsons was one of my favorite cartoons. I liked the Jetsons as a kid. And you just thought, I mean, my God, flying cars and robots bringing you food. I mean, we're to the robots bringing you food now.
Yeah.
We're to that part of the Jetsons. We still don't have the flying cars.
So LT, I can't look at this without, what was the HBO series?
Westworld.
I can't look at this
Season
without
1 was great.
Westworld, yeah.
Hey, so if I asked you guys if you had the $25,000, $30,000 laying around, I mean, I think I would get one, I guess.
Nope. I'd buy one more vest.
Now, I love the fact that technically challenged Lance Taylor thinks he can operate a robot.
I don't have
you
to
know
if
how
I've
screwed
got
up
the right capability.
Your robot would never work right.
Hey, by the way, when I talked about Grace came out yesterday, he's like, let me see your keys. Remember I told you I couldn't remote start it?
Yeah.
Boom, it fired right up.
Stunned.
I was like,
you got a remote start on your fob and you didn't know it?
Well, no, I did. It just didn't work the way most work.
Yeah.
So he showed me he had a couple of buttons and
boom,
it works.
Good to go. I mean, Dunaway, how much bitching would Lance have on a Monday about his robot? I mean,
That's
guys,
some
the
bitch.
football was good, but
I'd end up throwing a bucket of water on him.
Hey, can you?
But I mean, he's going to put Rodrigo out of business if he can cut grass.
That's right.
Oh, on the beer tap, can you go full screen on this, Tyler? On the beer tap, does it not look very cannibalistic, like he's pulling, like he's killed another robot, and that's the beer tap? He's pulling it somebody else's arms and legs.
Oh, I think that's the tap up top is a robot.
Yeah, robot beer.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever saw iRobot. It was okay with Will Smith.
Did not.
But this is where we're trending.
I liked iCarly. I did not like iRobot.
One thing I hated about iRobot was in the trailer they tell you that the robots are turning evil, and then it takes 90 minutes in the movie for the robots to turn evil. And I'm like, I saw it in the trailer. I know it's
Tom Brady's baby's mama at her probably pinnacle.
Heidi Klum?
Nope, not even close. Married to Seal one day.
What's her name?
Bridget Moynihan.
Bridget Moynihan.
Oh, really? So the first Mrs.
That was
Brady.
before Giselle.
Yeah.
So for more than 35 years, a woman in Washington State would leave food in her yard for about a dozen resident raccoons. Now, the key word in that sentence is a dozen.
Yeah, at the time.
6 weeks ago, the number of raccoons began to increase. Quote, somehow the word got out in raccoon land and they all showed up to her house expecting a meal. This Kevin McCarty from the sheriff's office. Newer raccoons began scratching around the woman's home near Polsbo, Washington, all night demanding food. Quote, anytime she comes out of her home, they swarm her until she throws them food. The normal raccoons that she feeds are nice, but the new ones showing up scare her.
Yeah.
By last Thursday afternoon, the newly scary raccoons had grown to a horde of about 100, prompting the woman, whose name has not been released, to call 911. Her concern was increased by the newer arrival's greater aggression after years of dealing with relatively docile, much smaller band of raccoons.
If you're a fan of the hit TV show Friends back in the day, this is exactly when Monica made her own homemade candy and would put it on the door for anybody in her residence to have the free candy, and they'd start knocking on the door all night. Hey,
So-
you have any more of that candy?
So she calls 911. What do I do about this? Sheriff's Department said trappers are asking $500 a raccoon to cart them away. This is when 500 per. This is when you go get an AR-15, which you can probably get a new nice one between $1,500 and $2,000.
Spray the field?
And just spray the field.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to come get them. I'm going to give you an opportunity to come extract the raccoon, or I am going to dust every one of them.
She created the problem. She baited the field. She lured them in.
She did. I mean, it is her fault, but I'm with Lance. Once you start feeding them, they're not going to go away. It's either going to have to be a trapper or an AR-15.
The other night, the Hitchcockian classic, The Birds, came on.
Yep.
And can you imagine in a world where you had a bunch of raccoons attacking you?
The Birds is freaky. When he's in that phone booth.
Every one of those raccoons has got rabies.
How many? Oh, absolutely.
They all eat diapers.
There's one of the original ones. Like, she's nice, guys. Settle down. There'll be more food. Just settle down.
You ought to try a chicken pot pie. It is amazing.
So, when Al Roker thinks about his mother and
Doris,
food,
we're going to need some more food out here, quick.
This recipe comes to mind, and I'm going to have to tiptoe here because we do have a guest in studio.
Okay.
Oh no.
Oh damn.
God, Lance.
While it graced his table for every holiday meal and on special Sunday dinners, no one in the family knows where this side dish came from or why on earth it is called sweet potato poon.
That's the name of the dish.
That is the name of the dish. Now, the recipe is included in the new cookbook written by Roker and his daughter, Courtney, titled Al Roker's Recipes to Live By. Just as the poon was a tradition, so was torturing his mother while she was making it for Thanksgiving dinner. Once the kids could smell the combination of the spices coming from the kitchen, they knew it was almost time for her to add the marshmallows and shove it under the broiler, at which point they'd do anything they could to distract her.
We call it sweet potato spoon at my house.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, we bought the S.
Bought the S. Sweet
according to
potato
Roker,
casserole.
the poon
in most
is
places,
a crustless sweet potato pie. No one knows where the name came from. I'm sure Roker's dad does.
Yeah. Boy, that is awkward when your granny walks in holding that.
When Roker's mom said, "Where did you get this recipe?"
You know Dolores down the street, don't you?
That is trash, my friend.
Brought to you by.
It is buying season. Our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Veteran founded here in Birmingham, offer loans throughout the country. While the area they serve may have grown, their commitment to Birmingham and veterans has not changed. Before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. Call 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com.
By the way, official definition is a simple or foolish person. So
I've heard a different one.
Simple pie would be without crust.
Okay.
So that's where the origination came from.
I like a little crust.
Yeah. You know.
Now, if you want me to go to the Urban Dictionary, it's a different definition.
You do not have to.
Totally different definition. All right. Pick 3 song in just a second, Milton. We'll need that here as we'll give you our picks coming up here. Brought to you by our friends at Buffalo Wild Wings as we'll end the show on that. Any college football game on the board we have not talked about yet, though, that you want to get to? There were some non-SEC games.
I'm interested. It affects the Big 12. Lance was big on West Virginia having a shot against Kansas State. You still feel good about that one? West Virginia 2.5 underdog at home.
Yeah, I do like West Virginia in this game.
Do you?
Yeah. Same time, UCF and Iowa State. That has Big 12.
Yeah, UCF is a big road favorite.
Go back real quick, and we brought this up yesterday. West Virginia's 3-3, which is disappointing, but the 3 losses are to a combined 18-0. 3 undefeated ranked teams right now. Iowa State, they have won and covered 5 straight. Their defense is playing lights out right now. Rocco Beck, really good quarterback. UCF, they've lost 3 straight after a 3-0 start. Ja'Cory Brown, out of Valdosta will get another start in this game. I don't know how much different the offense is going to be. This is not really a good UCF team, and their offensive line has been bad.
I am shocked that KJ Jefferson had to be benched this season. That was a quarterback-coach combo that I thought could really cause some trouble in the Big 12.
Yeah, people thought there was a downgrade from Taylor Green.
Yeah.
Had a little poor man's great value Cam Newton feel.
Yeah,
to
I
it,
mean, in fact, people made the comparison. Now everybody's just size-wise, it's the closest to Cam Newton he's ever had. And I'm glad they said size-wise because obviously play-wise has not been.
Before we look at the standings, before we hear the song, our buddy Scott Forrester not with us today because his daughter's signing a scholarship, and we have the picture now. The Forrester family
look at that.
out there with the signing of the scholarship. Moody Volleyball well represented there. And look at that family. Look at Scott in there.
Right there next to her. Made sure she got that ink on the paper. I mean, that is, we if you weren't with us at the start of the show, Scott is obviously a valued member of our family. We love us some Forrester up here. This guy and his wife have gone all over the South with both of their children participating in athletics, and you got to respect that. I was talking to somebody today about my dad and my mom, like how much they carted me and my brother around playing sports. You don't think about it till you're an adult and you're having to do it, right? They have put a lot of effort into that, and she has too. She's been a hard worker, so very proud of her.
Yeah. So Haley heading to Freed Hardman, where she'll play volleyball, and the signature official today. And she's now a scholarship athlete, and it was nice for the coach to swing down from Tennessee to Moody today. For the area champions, they're off to the region next week. Hope the Foresters have a great day, and Scott's buying lunch right now, and we should have sent the company card and bought him lunch or something.
Always think about it afterwards, don't you?
Yeah. I'm always short on the wallet. I don't go to the wallet quick enough.
Well, unless you buy a $450 vest.
That's what you did last night.
Boy, are you grounded this weekend, by the way?
I have to leave town this weekend. It was a loser leave town
no
purchase.
per diem.
Yeah.
She's packing you a lunch.
Let's look at the standings. It's the Buffalo Wild Wings pick 3. We continue to 1-2 along the way. Do you have a standings for us? There it is. 9-12 for me. 8-13. 8-13.
All you got to do is play against our pick 3, and you're making pretty good money.
13-8 against me and you, Lance.
Yeah.
You guys do a sports show for a living? Yeah. That's what we do.
Yeah. So the pick 3 update is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Play the song, and then LT will tell us about B-dubs.
Pick 3, it's time for the pick 3. 3 for you and 3 for me, that equals a pick 3. Say goodbye to your family, it's time for the pick 3. Only time that I'm happy is when it's time for pick 3.
All weekend long, stop in and see our friends at Buffalo Wild Wings, 11 Central Alabama locations, including that Buffalo Wild Wings Go location in Vestavia, wall-to-wall TVs locations all over the place, 26 sauces and seasonings, along with a full menu of great burgers, wraps, and salads, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right, who wants to go
I'll
first?
go first.
Okay.
This is my all-SEC 3-teamer.
Oh, look out.
The week. I've got Alabama. I'm going to drop it to 2.5. We got to have it on a half.
That's right.
Georgia. I'll go 4.5. I'll take my half and go the other way.
There you go.
So let's go.
You're going to go 4.5?
Yeah, I'll go 4.5. And then I've got Kentucky on the road against DJ Lagway minus 1.5. I think Kentucky's defense a little too good for Lagway.
Yeah.
I just always add a half to whatever the number was.
Go either way. You feel
down.
that good about Alabama that you've got them in your pick 3, Lance? I find that interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I do.
You've been on Bama all week on this.
I think there are bigger issues right now with Tennessee than there are at Alabama.
Here we go.
Yeah, I just lost the left corner bracket on mine.
Wow.
Just flew off.
It's ineligible now. I like Lance, like Kentucky minus the 1.5. This has been a wildly erratic team, but I don't like DJ Lagway getting the start. It's weird, Lance. I've got to self-own. When they were playing, who was it they were playing back in the swamp? We were like, start DJ Lagway. And they did, and it wasn't
Sanford.
great.
It was coming off the Sanford game, though.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I cannot remember who they were playing that next week. SMU, it's Texas A&M. Texas A&M we wanted to start, and A&M ran them out. SMU out on the farm for the first time ever. That's Luganbill's game, I believe. I think that's the game Luganbill's doing Saturday night, minus 16.5.
It is.
I like SMU there, Rhett Lashley's squad. And then I think Taylor Green is going to play. Arkansas plus 2.5 is going to win this game outright over LSU. That's going to cause some trouble for LSU as it relates to the college football playoff.
For me, I'm going to ride with some dogs this weekend. I thought UCLA turned a corner last week, lost the game. They go on the road at Rutgers. UCLA plus 4.5 against Rutgers. I like
They have
UCLA.
been a covering machine. They haven't been good, but for whatever reason, Deshaun Foster, a lot of these numbers have been inflated. I think this number's finally fair. Rutgers coming off a beat down to Nebraska, but I think Rutgers is much better than UCLA, but UCLA is at least scratching and clawing.
Does it worry you that it's a 9 a.m. body clock game for them?
It does not. No.
Okay.
Those guys.
He went all 11 o'clock games here.
Yes, you did.
Nebraska. Well, I'll be
anti-Lance.
busy 2:30 at Neyland Stadium, so I want to have it out of the way. Don't have to check the scoreboard. Nebraska all week long. That's my upset alert. Plus 6.5 at Indiana, and then I like Auburn to win on the road. Plus the 4.5 at Missouri. That is my pick 3 there. That's who I'm rolling with.
I thought you would go Tennessee.
I like Tennessee, 41-27. I like
41-27. You like them in a blowout.
Yeah, I guess
Lance.
14 is a blowout.
Right?
Right?
Yeah, that is a blowout.
That's a blowout. Yep.
Our show will be just as interesting Monday as it has been the last 2 Mondays if Bama does get beat by 14.
That is absolutely correct.
At some point, Army and Navy have to lose for this not to be a crazy 1940-ish type season for the two military academies. They both play Notre Dame. Notre Dame's playing better, correct, than they were at one point this year?
Yeah, I mean, Riley Leonard, you look at his first 3 games, he was getting it done with the legs, but there wasn't any pop in the offense. So 0 touchdowns passing over his first 3 games. Last 3 games, 6 total passing touchdowns. So he's getting a little bit more comfortable in this offense. And I brought this up, I think it was last night. Marcus Freeman is the best covering coach percentage-wise since 1990.
Woo.
And I'll give you those numbers. Marcus Freeman right now is covering at a clip of 66%. 29-15-1 against the number. That's pretty amazing.
It is. Navy used to be a powerhouse. Army used to be really a powerhouse.
Yeah, it is wild that you've got 2 ranked teams in that conference, and they are Army and Navy.
It is.
I think Tulane at 4-2 is a really good football team.
I think Tulane might be better than both of them overall talent, but the systems right now and the way that both Horvath and Daly are playing at the quarterback position.
If Navy and Army are going to stay unbeaten, they're going against history. Navy is 13-80-1 all time against Notre Dame. It's worse for Army. 8-39-4, only 8 wins, but they played them less times. Surprised that Notre Dame and Army have played less than Army and Navy. I mean, less than Navy and Notre Dame. Maybe because Army used to be really good.
And I do think this might be the best version of Army-Navy I've ever seen, especially at the same time. And the problem is when they get out front, they've got a little element where both teams can throw it a little bit now. Yep. But Army is one of 3 teams, along with Marshall and BYU, that is undefeated against the spread this year.
I think Tulane's the best team in that conference. Army does not play them. Navy does. So that benefits Army a little bit there.
Give me 15 seconds on why Alabama-Tennessee turns out the way you think it does. Go first, Brown.
I think Jalen Milroe is the best player in the game. And I think he can move the ball in that Tennessee defense, as the last 2 quarterbacks they faced have. But he is so far better than those 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, and I think Jeremy Bernard is really getting involved in the offense, which is going to loosen some things up for number 2, Ryan Williams, on the perimeter. I think Milroe taking shots up top. That secondary has not been tested the entire year. They will get tested tomorrow, and I think Milroe is the difference in this game.
Edge protection for Alabama, and then stopping Dylan Sampson from running on the edge opens the door for Tennessee for me. And that's our show this week. Remember, we continue on the social platforms at Next Round Live everywhere, from TikTok to Twitter. Also tonight on the Hibbets YouTube channel and on our Twitter account, Alabama-Wake Forest. We're the broadcast partners for that game down at Boutwell. We look forward to that, and we'll see you in Neyland if you're up there tomorrow night. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.